Last Wednesday, there was an incident in South Carolina. Some law enforcement officers went to serve a warrant, and 7 South Carolina enforcement officers were shot. One of those officers was fatally wounded. This was a 30-plus year veteran. He was a sergeant. He was highly decorated. His name was Terrence Caraway. Anytime someone in law enforcement gets killed, it's a tragedy. But Terrence kind of touches Raider Nation a little bit. Terrence was an avid Raider fan. He was a former football coach. He was a mentor. He was described as a comedian, a loving guy. He was actually helping out officers in need outside of his jurisdiction and was shot from over 100 yards away. He was described as one of the bravest police officers that people had ever known, and it's an absolute tragedy. In response to that, a lot of folks came out to support him and his family, and they went so far as to shut down Interstate 26 as the motorcade of officers escorted his body and several more. Folks from his Air Force Reserve unit lined the interstate to pay their respects, and it's a horrible tragedy. There's been some GoFundMe set up to support his folks, and we just want all of Raider Nation to join us in sending our thoughts and prayers to his family. And it's just a tragic way to lose one of our own.
Raider! Oakland, L.A., Oakland, Vegas, Raider Nation, wherever, forever! You got your old Uncle Mosh and Raiders Fan Radio from Murph's Fan Cave, taking a lighter journey into the dark side. Sit back, put your feet up, pop a top, and enjoy the ride. Here we go!
Look left, look right, Bolitnikov, a leaping pass, touchdown!
We miss you, we love you, and we'll see you in the Hall of Fame.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players, you have a great organization, and you tell them one thing, just win, baby.
Way up the middle, intercepted Villapiano at the 50, time running down, Oakland football, and I think Oakland victory.
The Oakland Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play.
Well, I love this team. I think this team can win. I think this team can win.
What is up, Raider Nation? Your old buddy Murph back at it again in the fan cave for another, what we hope to be, fantastic episode of Raiders Fan Radio. Welcome to episode number 98 of Raiders Fan Radio. And if you didn't notice there, we changed up the intro a little bit because we don't want to draw any kind of reference to that one player that shall not be spoken of, ever. Nor draw any attention to the person who spoke of the player that was spoken of, because both of those guys, to quote our friends on the Fan Club Blitz, "You're dead to me."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That laugh, as you hear, comes from my one and only co-host from the Southern Annex of the Murph's Fan Cave desk. Welcome to episode number 98, Uncle Mosh.
Glad to be here, Murph. So excited to be here. Man, with the way we've been playing, this is the highlight of my week.
It's certainly the highlight of Raiderdom when it comes to our dealings, because Sundays are kind of a bummer.
Yeah,
I mean I guess that may be a nice way to say it. That
well,
it's kind of a bummer.
You did say it. You called it Raider dumb.
Yeah,
we've been Raider drunk. Now we're Raider dumb.
I know, right? Now we're Raider hungover.
Well, I'm a teacher, and so one of my colleagues at school today, I was leaving early to get over here so that we could finish up our prep, and she says to me, so you're a football fan? And I says, well, yeah, we've only known each other for 12 years, but yeah. And she says, and you're a Raider fan? And I says, well, yeah. And she says, have they won games yet? And I said, I gotta go. I gotta go. No, I will not cover you tomorrow. No, I'm out of here.
Yeah, they've won. They've won one game.
Yeah.
Boy, that was a fun week.
And I told her, I showed her how many games we'd won with one finger.
Which one was it?
Well, I'm not going to say, but she says, "What's that?" And I said, "That's how many games we won. I gotta go."
Oh, man. So, anyways, thank you again for joining us here on episode number 98. The chat room is filling up. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Mean, Sean, Robert, Raider Vic, Richmond, Demon Death.
Demon Death. All right. Hey, we need to get Demon Death to call in.
All right.
If he's got a voice that matches his name.
Actually, that's a pretty good Raider name.
That's
right?
a great name.
Great Raider name. But so thank you for joining us here on the show. To all of you that are joining us live on the YouTube feed, and thank you for those of you that are listening to us as a podcast. You know, we're a podcast, Uncle Mosh.
We are a podcast. We're a podcast. We're YouTubers. We got it all.
We got it all. You know,
I twit.
You're a Twitter now.
No. Did you just call me a twit? No, I am a twit. No, I do twit.
You twit. You twit. You are a Facebooker.
A Facebooker.
And you know what? I got flagged this week. Well, you got flagged this week.
I did?
Yeah, because your name on Facebook was Uncle Mosh, Raiders Fan Radio.
Right.
And so now the new Facebook guidelines say that you can't have like a made-up name. So it got flagged. So now you're Mosh Moshington.
Moshington?
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, because I'm like, I didn't know what else to call you. So if you follow us on Facebook, you know, I'm Murph Murphy.
Right.
And so I'm like, well, we'll just make you Mosh Moshington.
I love it.
So if you follow Uncle Mosh on Facebook, then you'll see it. So anyway, check us out on Facebook. Check us out on all the all the different places on social media that you could find us. You can find us at Raiders Fan Radio all over Twitter and all the stuff we're getting ready to tell you in the contact information.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to repeat that now.
No, but you know what's really cool is if I knew how to use my Facebook, I'd have known that already.
You'd have known that already.
Yeah.
I think you log into it like once a month-ish.
Well,
I log into it like once every week to help promote the show, but you do respond to people, though.
I do. I'm a responder.
You are a responder, so you do respond.
Mosh Moshington, of the Moshington responders.
Not a first responder. You're definitely a late responder, but you know that happens with age.
Yeah. Oh.
And I'm only saying that because I know from firsthand.
Oh, you're trying to weasel out of that one. All right, I got you.
For those of you on the YouTube feed, that look that Uncle Mosh did right there, we call that cutting eyes in our family. That's usually what I see right before I see a fist in a blackout. That's what happens.
It's an ugly thing.
It's an ugly thing. All right, so hey, so for those of you also that are joining us on the YouTube feed, you will see that Uncle Mosh and I are sporting our fine apparel. We're sporting our Carhartt brand 47 Raider hats, which you can find at I forget what the website is. It's like Carhartt.com, whatever.
Carhartt.com.
Yeah, you just search for it. And their new licensed NFL licensed hats. And the Carhartt folks were kind enough to send us a couple of hats, actually more than a couple, and we're going to share those back with you as Uncle Mosh. We have a tagline.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a bit.
We're going to get to it in a little bit. So definitely check out the new Carhartt hats and the new NFL.
Why'd you got to go to me when I'm wiping my nose?
Sorry, I'll go back over here.
Okay.
There we go. Back over here. All right. And then also, Uncle Mosh, we do have another significant announcement this week. And now, when we do our features this week here on Raiders Fan Radio, you're coughing and I'm burping.
I'm sorry, man. That's just riveting podcasting.
I know, right? Yeah,
there.
Beautiful. So this week on the show, we got an interview with Kev from Silver and Black UK. Obviously, timely that we have the London game coming up. So Uncle Mosh is going to tell us a little bit about the Silver and Black UK events. But before you get to that, so we're gonna do our interview with Kevin today on the show. Then we're going to talk about the significance of the number 98 in terms of Raiderdom. We're going to pick on Lane Kiffin.
Absolutely.
We are going to go through our 4-minute offense, which is where we cover 6 now stories in Raider Nation, and in a period of 4 minutes. Then we're going to get into the Sea of Fans mailbag. Big mailbag this week.
Huge mailbag.
Huge physical mail, voicemail.
We got it all.
We got it all this week. So a lot going on in the Sea of Fans this week. And then as we mentioned, we have our tagline contest. So that's it. It sounds short. It sounds brief, but it is not, because we have so much to get to within those segments. And then we got a couple other little fun things in between there as well. So without further ado, do we want to do the rundown of the events before we get to contact info, Mosh, or you want contact info?
Let's talk about that really quick.
All right, go for it.
Okay, so
wait, hold on, I got your music here. Okay, ready?
Go.
Are you going to do an accent?
This is your old Uncle Mosh. Wait, I was trying to do British and I became Alfred Hitchcock all of a sudden.
Hello, love.
Hello.
Is that Cockney?
So from Britain. No, you know what? I don't want to offend our listeners
I was just
in the
gonna say,
UK. I love them. But they got this amazing thing going on, and we have decided that both of us, this is on our bucket list, man, to get over there and to hang out with our international,
absolutely,
to hang out with our international Raiders family. They're doing it right. They got stuff going all week. Thursday evening, they got a Jack the Ripper tour. You know, where they pile everybody in, they go, it's done right. Mad Hatter Raiders bus tour is done Friday during the day. They got a pregame party that Friday night. Saturday during the daytime. Okay, there you go. They're having, you were reaching over into my area over here.
Sorry.
They got, they're tours of London. They got Sunday, they got a game day brunch. I mean, it's amazing. There's something going on. For the people like you and I, folks from Europe that want to go to an event, you know, to see American football in the UK.
Yeah.
It's a week-long event.
It's a week-long event.
It's like Super Bowl, if you will, kind
Absolutely.
of a thing. You know, it's phenomenal. There's something all the time. And our folks over there at silverandblackuk.com is who you can contact, and they'll hook you up with ticket prices and where to go, and man, it's gonna be an event. We can't wait. Powerball tonight. I'm the winner. So yeah. So if I'm not here next week, you'll know what happened.
Okay, all right, fair enough, and we'll be on ESPN too. We'll
there you go.
Buy our way
there you
into
go.
that.
Hey,
yeah,
we can
absolutely.
do that.
Yeah, so anyway, thank you so much to the folks from Silver and Black UK for representing Raider Nation in the finest of fashions. And, man, these folks are great. Ollie, Keith Smith, Crossbones Kelly, and, of course, our buddy Kev, who we're going to hear from here in just a minute. So we're going to play the contact information for you. And then for those of you on the YouTube feed, you're just going to hear a pause. For those of you on the podcast, it will then go into the interview with Kev from Silver and Black UK, and that will come up right here after the contact info.
All right, boys and girls, pay attention. You got your old Uncle Mosh here with an update. That's right. I got some stuff for you. Take out a piece of paper, a pencil, a pen. Heck, use your pocket knife and carve the info into your dashboard as you're driving down the highway. First off, you need to like us on our fan page on Facebook. That's right. Go to Facebook at Raiders Fan Radio Podcast. Don't forget about the Twitter. You know your old Uncle Mosh, he twits now. That's right. Go to at Raiders Fan Radio. Also, don't forget the Instagram at Raiders Fan Radio. Or what about our website? That's right, RaidersFanRadio.com. Heck, if you want to, you can even email us, show at RaidersFanRadio.com, or call us on the Raiders Fan Radio hotline, 909-345-3346. That's 909-345-3346. Don't forget Merv's Fan Cave on the YouTube, where you can get all the show links like the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead and Fitz. Find all our stuff on podcast providers like Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. All right, did I hit the time limit? Good.
All right, Uncle Mosh, next up here on Raiders Fan... Oh, actually, no, we're going to play... Yes, next up here on Raiders Fan Radio, we're going to play the interview with Kevin. There we go.
Kevin's going to tell us in depth all about the stuff that's going on at the UK event, man.
That's right. So let's hear our info. Listen to me. Let's get to our interview with Kev from Silver and Black UK.
You ever done a podcast before?
No. Raider Nation. Now joining me here on Raiders Fan Radio is our buddy Kev from Scotland, and he is representing Silver and Black UK. We're going to talk a bunch to Kev about not only his Raider fandom, but the Raiders in the UK and events going on, the things that the Silver and Black UK have going on around the game day coming up for the London game versus the Seattle Seahawks. So please welcome Kev. Kev, welcome to Raiders Fan Radio.
How you doing, Murph? Uncle Mosh?
Doing fantastic, buddy. Thank you for joining us here. So it's like 3:00 local time here. So that means it's like what, winter where you are?
Something like that. Winter is coming, and in a true Game of Thrones fashion, winter is always coming when you're in Scotland. So it's 9 p.m. 9 p.m. where I am.
All right, good deal. Well, winter is coming, and so are the Seattle Seahawks to join our Oakland Raiders, and we're going to talk plenty about the game day that you have going on, or the events that you have going on around game day. But first, let's talk a little bit about, first off, you can find Silver and Black UK at just like it sounds. It's silverandblackuk.com. That's SILVER, the word and blackuk.com. Check them out. A lot of the information we're going to talk about tonight is there on their website. They have a fantastic website. They have a mission statement even. I mean, that's how cool Raider Nation is, man, is that our fan clubs have mission statements. So definitely go and check out their website and a lot of the stuff that they have going on around the event. But before we get to all that, Kev, let's talk a little bit about you, buddy. How did you become a Raiders fan? Obviously, we know you're from Scotland. How does a guy from Scotland grow up an Oakland Raiders fan?
Well, it all started back in the mid-1980s. I was 10 years old, 1985, when UK television first ever broadcast a live Super Bowl. So that was the Chicago Bears and the New England Patriots. From that moment, I was hooked on the game, and there was a weekly highlight show on Channel 4, one of the broadcasters here. And I saw the Raiders, and the thing that I saw about the Raiders was Marcus Allen, the Super Bowl run against the Redskins from 1983. And that was it. Just that run that he went on, cutting across field, went back on himself all the way down to the end zone. That had me hooked, because up to that point, I hadn't chosen a team. I didn't know which team really suited me. But from seeing Marcus Allen go on that run, and the cool uniform, the black jerseys, the silver helmet, that was it. So they became my team from that moment onwards.
That was an amazing time. Obviously, last time we won the Super Bowl, and that whole Black Sunday was just an amazing moment for the Raiders and Raider Nation.
Yeah.
And, it being dark outside, like that was a very, very cool moment. So tell us about that. So you latch on to the Raiders, and then where does it go from there? Obviously, we went a long time between then and then when we started playing games in London. So, what is it like for you? You just able to read newspaper articles, or like what does your fandom look like between then and when the Raiders actually start showing up?
Yeah, well, it was really difficult, obviously, being so far away from the States. And obviously back then, media wasn't quite what it is now. There was no internet or anything like that. So all we could do was watch the weekly highlight show. Someone else mentioned it on your show a few weeks back, another guy from Scotland, David Love. But we listened to Armed Forces Radio Network on a Sunday night, and it was, obviously the games kicked off at 6. But you didn't really get a signal until after 9 o'clock at night. Then you could hear patches of the game. There was a couple of publications that we could buy. There was a magazine called Touchdown. There was like a newspaper-styled magazine called First Down, which came out weekly as well. So we managed to really get an insight into the game, the teams, the players, by watching highlight shows, listening to live games on radio, and picking up those kind of publications. It wasn't really until the mid-90s that the game was broadcast live in the UK by Sky Sports. So that was then weekly live games on television. But of course, the Raiders were on maybe once or twice a year. So again, it was difficult to watch them live. I then started listening to Raiders Radio Network, Greg Papa, all the way through the kind of early 2000s. That was the way I kind of hooked into the team, as well as watching Sky Sports, the occasional live game. But it wasn't until really a few years ago, about 5 years ago, I got Game Pass, NFL Game Pass. And that just kind of took the fandom up to a whole new level, because now we're watching every single Raiders game. So it's really allowed us here on the other side of the world, I suppose, to really connect to the Raiders and really follow them on a weekly basis. And obviously now with the internet, we're connecting with Raider Nation all across the world. So it's taken it to a whole new level. It's awesome. It's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, it is really cool to be there in real time. And of course, I'm out of market myself, whereas I'm in Tennessee, which is a lot closer to Oakland than what Scotland is. But still, I mean, being out of market, especially the more the inner workings of the team. My dad used to send me newspapers because he still lived in the Bay Area, and he would send me newspapers so I could read up on the Raiders and whatnot.
Yeah.
So you follow the team. So then you were able to see them live from the first time that the Raiders played over there in London. What was your first Raider game, and how often have you actually gotten to see the Raiders live? Have you been to the States at all? Like, tell me a little bit about your game attendance.
Well, it's pretty limited, to be honest. I've only seen them once, and that was back in 2014 when they came to Wembley. I choose not to remember that game. It was pretty tough going, I must admit. I was so excited to be going to see the Raiders for the first time in my life. Took my wife with me, who she doesn't follow the game at all, and it was really, really quite difficult for her to go. But she came along anyway and joined me at the game. And she actually stopped me leaving the stadium at halftime. I was so distraught with what I was seeing. I was so upset. I actually stood up and was about to leave the stadium, and she just said, "You're going to regret it. Stay and watch it." So that's the only time. I've intended on trying to get across to Oakland to come and see the team, but I've got two kids. Two teenage girls now, and they've kind of occupied most of my time and most of my priorities, to be honest. So it's been really difficult. I was very close to going this year until they announced that they were coming back to London. So I decided to see them in London as opposed to Oakland, on the hope that I get the chance to go next year. If they stay and play one more year in Oakland, I'll definitely be there next year for sure.
Well, hopefully you do get that chance. And yeah, it's looking pretty good. We talked to Phil Barber, who is a reporter for the Santa Rosa Press-Democrat, and him and Vic Tafer and all the beat guys all pretty much agree that the Raiders are going to end up having that one more year in Oakland. Yeah. So you should be in good shape. And it's funny, our wives are so much smarter than us for numerous reasons. And so here you go once again, right, telling you to stay for the game. And she was right, despite the 38-14 blowout that game was against the Dolphins, which I'm with you, brother. That was a rough watch on TV, let alone being there in person. But yeah, I'm glad you decided to stay, because those are sometimes, once in a generational, if not lifetime, opportunities for us to see our teams at times, So I'm glad you hung in there for it. So let me ask you a little bit, so about the game day experience there. Now, we've heard, soccer or like that's a national sport, right? And that's the sport in that area of the world. And we've often heard here in the States that the fans would actually cheer the field goals more than like a touchdown because you're so used to seeing the ball get kicked, even in rugby and stuff. So is that true? Is there any truth to that, or is that just something that gets thrown out here by our media?
No, I think there is a truth to that. I've been to Wembley for the international series to see another game, so I've experienced it as part of a UK crowd twice, and I would say pretty much anything that happens on the field gets cheered. And it probably is that kind of soccer mentality, if you like. It can be quite vocal here, especially when you're watching soccer teams. There's a lot of singing that goes on, a lot of chanting that goes on. It's quite tribal, to be honest. So I wouldn't say the UK NFL fans are tribal in the sense that the soccer fans are, but they certainly bring a bit of that sort of passion and that kind of support, and they just really, really enjoy the game, and they'll cheer pretty much anything that happens. But they're knowledgeable, really, really knowledgeable fans now. So we know what's going on. We don't celebrate a field goal like it's a touchdown.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? We know the kind of difference between it. But it's just so exciting to be at the games that I think we'll pretty much cheer anything that happens on the field.
That's cool. It's definitely, now that this year I sat in the black hole for the first time. So I've got that checked off the bucket list. And then my next one is to go overseas. I would love to, I don't know when the Raiders are going to play over there next time, but whatever that next time is, that would just be an amazing trip to go see that, just to see the difference, just to experience that. And you guys are such good fans over there. I didn't really know a lot about UK Raider fan until really recently, to the past year at least, of doing this show, and first started talking to our buddy Kevin, the Raider nerd, about his trip over there and what it was like. Man, I'm just so impressed by you all, and your fandom is just amazing. So, so before we get into the specifics of the game, and I do want to get into that here in just a minute, but first I want to ask you about your Mount Rushmore. One of our favorite questions to ask our folks is that give me your really at your top three, because we're going to spot you Al Davis. So, we're going to give you number 4, but what are the next 3, the 3 guys that you would pick that would, or ladies, if you want to recruit Amy Trask, there's the 3 people that would most represent Raider Nation to you, Kev.
Okay, well, as I mentioned, I've been a fan since around mid-1980, so let's say 85, so that's about 30 years. So what I'd like to do is split this into 10-year kind of blocks. And pick a player from that kind of block, if that's okay.
Yeah, I like it.
So if we go back to 1985, I think this one will be obvious, but from 1985 to 1995, over that sort of 10-year period, my favourite player without a doubt was Marcus Allen. And it's because of that memory that I mentioned. He's the reason, really, that I was drawn towards the Raiders. He's the guy that made me notice the Raiders. So it has to be Marcus Allen for me, and it was the first jersey I bought as well. I was only 13, I think, 13 or 14, and I had the number 32, Marcus Allen. And the jerseys back then were really cheap and nasty. You know, those ones that were really meshy with loads of holes in them? Yeah, it was one of them.
Saving money on material because they had so many holes in them, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it was one of them, and I was so proud of it. But Marcus Allen, definitely from the sort of 85 to 95 kind of period. So the next kind of 10 years, 95 to 05, for me, Tim Brown. It's got to be Tim Brown.
Nice.
The guy was just so consistent, played for us for such a long time, done everything. I think he practically caught every pass that came his way, returned punts, done it all. Legend of a Raider. So Tim Brown, he's a special player to me. And then I would say 05 to kind of present period, it's the one and only Sir Charles Woodson. Has to be. The guy was just on a different level, true Raider. Obviously, he went on holiday to Green Bay for a short period of time. But he came back. He knew what was up, and he came back. And the fact he came back just says it all about him as well. And he really epitomised the Raiders, in my opinion, playing on the field with dislocated shoulders and could only use one arm, and he was still the best player on the defence, things like that. So Charles Woodson's definitely on my Mount Rushmore as well. I'd like to add present-day team. I think Derek Carr needs a kind of special mention. In terms of epitomising the Raiders and being a quality kind of guy, I think Derek Carr needs a shout-out. So I'd like to just shout him out. One day he'll be on Mount Rushmore.
I certainly hope so. If he puts a Super Bowl ring on, that ought to do it, right? Hopefully we'll do that. But I love the list, man. That's a great way to do it, to break it up in chunks like that. I love that. And I'm with you on Charles Woodson, man. He's almost like I've become even more of a fan of his since he's retired, if that's possible, because I was such a big fan of him to begin with. But I just love how he's carried the mantle of Raider Nation, man. And, and we weren't good those last few years. I mean, he was great. But there was an 0-10 in there, right? Which you saw live, You know what I mean? And so there was some pretty dark days in there, and for him to still represent the Raiders the way that he has just been awesome. So I'm with you. That's great. So,
and still do it, late in his career when he could have easily retired. He was an old man by then, and he was injured, he was hurt, and he still done it. He still played.
Still played well, right? That was just, exactly. It was so cool to watch him, man. So I'm with you. All right, so tell us a little bit about Silver and Black UK. Just kind of tell us about the, what it is, some of the origins of it. What is it? Are you, obviously it's a fan club, but tell us about where it started and what it's become, and just tell us the overall nature of Silver and Black UK.
Yeah, well, Silver and Black UK, we're the kind of UK's booster club, if you like, although we're an unofficial booster club at this moment in time. The Raiders organisation have suspended booster club applications at the moment, but that's another story. We're still in contact with them annually to try and represent them on a European level. and we try and always kind of fall in line with their values and how they want us to represent the Raiders. So that's ongoing. But we started in 2013, and that was just ahead of the game against the Dolphins in 2014 at Wembley Stadium. Two guys founded the club, Ollie de Ruyter and Tony Law, who are both still extremely active members. So they came up with the idea to put together Silver and Black UK, and the basis of that idea was to form the Black Hole, at Wembley Stadium. So that was the whole idea of starting Silver and Black UK. Since then, it's grown, really formed as a not-for-profit organisation. We've got a massive membership all across the UK and the world. It's kind of gone global now. There's lots of guys in the States, Sweden, Germany, Italy, all across Europe who are all members of Silver and Black UK. So that's really how it started and when it started. Going forward, what we're looking to do really is obviously grow membership, but hold events, regular events, where we can get people together all across the country, watch some games, and be part of Raider Nation. So that's really how it started and kind of what our outlook is going forward, really.
So that's one of the things that's neat about the Raiders booster clubs and fan clubs is that it's unique in the way that you all do events and the community outreach and all those things, all those wonderful things. It's, in now and getting to know a lot of the folks that represent these organizations, and one of the guys that is the president of the New Jersey chapter of the Black Hole and does a show on our network, the Fan Club Blitz. Chuck often says that, he's gotten to know other teams' fan clubs and they don't do the same stuff. Like they don't do it like you all do it. They don't do those type of events. And it's, they'll get together and drink some beer and eat some chicken wings on game day, but then that's kind of where it ends, where for you all, it's more of a year round thing. And it's an outreach thing. And I just love that about Raider Nation and about the difference in the way that you all approach it, so tell us a little bit. So I know that, so around the game, there's 5 things. There's a Thursday night Jack the Ripper tour. There's a Friday Mad Hatter Raiders bus tour. There's the pregame party on Friday. There's you all are doing a soccer game outing on Saturday, and they're even doing a brunch before the game on Sunday. So tell us and Raider Nation a little bit about all the events that you have going on around the London game. Yeah,
so you summarised it perfect. But starting on the Jack the Ripper tour, that's on Thursday the 11th of October. We've got over 100 people coming to that event. And basically, to summarise it, it's a terrifying tour on the trail of Jack the Ripper, through the streets of London. It's one of the scariest experiences that you'll ever encounter.
Awesome.
So please come along so we can scare the you-know-what out of you. But it's cool, and Jack the Ripper, it's such a kind of folklore story connected to London. London's got quite a grim history, and that's part of it. So it's quite an exciting way to kick off the sort of 3 or 4 days of events that we're going to do. Then on Friday, it's a little bit more kind of easier going. It's the open top bus tour that's through the centre of London, so through London City. There's over 150 people coming on the bus tour. There's 3 separate bus tours that are going around the city. And it's basically going to be decked out in silver and black, fans, super fans, flags. And we're going to go around London on an open-top bus and make a lot of noise. That's really cool. We've done that in 2014, and it was such a good event to put on. The fans absolutely loved it. So we're really looking forward to that. Then the Friday night, that's the big one, the pre-game party. So we've got over 250 people coming to that event. There's still tickets for sale. It's the hottest ticket in town, I've got to say. We've got special guests coming. We've got Fred Biletnikov coming. Mike Davis, the former LA Raider, he's coming as well. We've got lots of super fans there from the States and from the UK. Live music, got a charity auction, loads of things going on, loads of special merchandise being sold on that evening as well. So that's going to be really, really good. Saturday, we're going to see Leyton Orient, which is one of London's oldest soccer clubs. So we've got Raider Nation getting together. There's, I think, 70 or 80 people so far, all going to see Leyton Orient. Now, Leyton Orient play in red and white, but we're all going in silver and black, so that's going to be special to stand out in the crowd. The football club are allowing us into the supporters' lounge before the game. They're allowing us to get on pitch side before the game kicks off. We're getting onto the pitch at halftime for a charity penalty shootout. So there's lots of support from the football club as well.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's really good. One of our fans, or one of the kind of helping founding members, is Keith Smith, who'll be known to a lot of fans in the States as Crusader Raider. He's been going to Raiders games since the 80s. Travels from London across to California every single year. He's a tremendous guy. Him and his daughter, Crossbone Kelly, she's a super fan as well. Keith's connected to Leyton Orient, so he's kind of got the inside connection there to make all this happen. So that's going to be super cool. Then the Sunday there's a pre-game brunch, which is basically another 200 plus people. We're all meeting up together. We're having a kind of breakfast, a drink or two, maybe 3 or 4, who knows? And then we're all sort of making the march up to Wembley. So we'll jump on the underground, and 200 plus a Raider Nation will descend upon Wembley Stadium together, and meet up with the rest of the Raider Nation who are already, at the stadium tailgate. We'll all connect together and form a massive tailgate outside the stadium before the game kicks off. So they're the main events that we've got going on, and we're really looking forward to it. There's still some tickets left for some of the events, so if anybody is travelling across from the States who's listening to this, please go onto the website and you may well get yourself a ticket.
That's beautiful, man. That's so fun, man. You guys are making it's an entire week of events around the game. That is just super cool, man. That sounds like a lot of fun. So what is it like? So when y'all meet up there and as far as the fans that are attending, is there kind of like a split between Seahawks fans and Raiders fans? Is it people that are just there just because it's NFL football, or is what is the atmosphere like when you all arrive there? Like you said, you descend 200 of you, man, which I'll bet that's a blast. That train ride alone has got to be fun. You know what I mean? Especially after having, 1 or 2 or 5 cocktails at brunch, you know what I mean? Like that's gotta be fun. So what is that like, man? What are the fans like when you arrive and descend on Wembley?
Oh, it's really cool. I mean, that's the cool thing about the NFL at Wembley. It's such a diverse fan base. And everybody kind of, recognises everybody else. But I mean, when you put Raider Nation together, it's something totally different. Totally different. So all these events is the majority, 99% is going to be Raider Nation. But there are some Seahawks fans coming along to some of the events. And guys like Keith Smith, they're connected all across the States to all the different fan clubs, as is Silver and Black UK. So it's an open invitation to anyone to come along and join the fun. But in terms of going up to the stadium together as one big group, Raider Nation, no other fan base does that. No other fan base has done that in the UK. We're the only people to have done it in the past, and we're the only people that are going to do it again this time. So it really is unique, and it's really special. And you know what it's like. Raider Nation stand out, don't they?
Yeah.
Just by wearing the silver and black alone
exactly
and
right.
putting on a little bit of attitude, we stand out from the crowd. So that's what we intend on doing.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. You're right. We definitely stand out, and whether at all times, you know what I mean. You get that. You put on that silver and black, man, and it certainly carries a certain air about it. And that's awesome, man. I'm so proud of what you all are putting together, man. It's really cool stuff, man. And it's so unique and I hope that you mentioned about having the application into the Raiders or the NFL to be recognized. And, even if that never comes to fruition, I mean, I hope people recognize that what you all are doing is unique and special and is, it's pretty freaking awesome. And I hope that at some point, especially with the way that the NFL is trying to market to Europe, that they recognize the importance of having somebody like you all and to be the flagship and to represent Raider Nation in the NFL, because you all are doing it. You're doing it right. So kudos to you guys.
And as I say, we continue to meet the Raiders organization yearly. Ollie and Keith go and see them yearly. So it's an ongoing process. we've got our foot in the door, and I think they're watching what we do, and I think they can see that we're growing. As I say, we're a non-profit organisation, and we support Fred Biletnikov's foundation, so we annually donate to that. This year, we're also donating to Mike Davis's cancer charity, which is Buffs for Life, BUFFS for Life, and there's a local charity as well in the UK, Hatton School, which is a school for children with autism, social communication difficulties, speech and language difficulties as well. So that's a charity that's close to a few of our members. So that's a charity that we're going to donate to this year as well. So we're trying to support charities in the US, charities in the UK, and just kind of carry on the good work that Raider Nation does. And, you know, if the Raiders recognise that one day and give us the official status, that would be fantastic. If they don't, we'll just carry on doing what we're doing anyway, because we love it. You know, we love getting together. We'll have events all across the UK. We do it several times a year. The next one coming up is in Glasgow in Scotland. So that's the first time we're having it in Scotland.
Oh, cool.
And there's guys from all across the UK, Murph. I mean, these guys are travelling hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles, you know, flying in from different cities across the UK just to meet up, just to get together, have some food, have some beer, watch the game, you know, and have a good time. So it's growing. It's growing all the time, and we hope that it continues to grow.
That's fantastic, man. Such cool stuff. Well, and again, you know, and all those charities that you mentioned, Raider Nation does it unlike what anybody else does, and with that community outreach, and that's the Lord's work, man. That's just such cool stuff. So check out those websites for sure that Kev mentioned. Definitely check out Silver and Black UK at silverandblackuk.com. If you're headed over there and you haven't booked any of these events yet, definitely do it. It's top-notch stuff, and can't wait to see the pictures, can't wait to hear the stories, can't wait to see the Raiders kick the crap out of the Seahawks, hopefully.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Hopefully you get a little bit better viewing experience this time, Kev, than the last time when we kind of laid an egg against the Dolphins. But before we let you get out of here, we always ask our guests for a message to Raider Nation. So, Kev, what do you want to say to the fans, man? What's the message to Raider Nation?
My message right now to Raider Nation is, things have been so tough for a long, long time. You know, we've been through the mill, we've been kicked all over the place. But my message is keep supporting the team. I honestly believe we've got a tremendous head coach in place, a really good staff of coaches. I think we've got a really good foundation, some really good young players that are going to be there for a long time. Stick together, Raider Nation. There's too much hating going on. Everybody's arguing with each other and disagreeing with each other. It's fine to disagree, I totally get that, but respect your fellow Raider Nation. I think it's going to take time for us to become sustainably good again, but you know what? It takes time. And I think my important message really is form is temporary, class is permanent. Just win, baby.
Oh, I love it. Well done, my man. Well done. Well, hey, brother. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Raiders Fan Radio. It's been a blast talking to you. And again, look forward to hearing and seeing everything after the game. Man, have fun. Have fun. Y'all be safe.
Thanks, Murph. All the best to you and Uncle Mosh. Love the show. Keep up the good work. Honestly, I look so forward to hearing the show, Raiders Fan Radio, and Mondays with Mikey and Murph. It's superb stuff. I love it.
Oh, thank you very much, Kev. We appreciate it, man. We'll keep them coming.
Cheers, guys.
All right, brother. Have a good night.
Take care. You too. Cheers.
Alrighty. Okay, we'll see you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
He's great. He's awesome, man.
Kev is awesome, man.
He comes up with some such cool stuff, man.
Absolutely.
And it warms the cockles of my heart.
There you go, Ron.
when I hear folks from other parts of the world rocking the Raiders,
I
man.
know, isn't it cool?
That's just the coolest thing ever.
It's so cool, and I think it's pretty special that a lot of those folks, and we're going to hear from some of them later too, even that are getting a chance to see the Raiders for the first time, that, you know, realizing lifelong, you know, desires to go see the Raiders play live, man.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine? Like,
that's crazy.
It's such, like, I just got mad respect for somebody that maintains their fandom being so distant from it, man, so physically so distant from it. And, you know, we're at a market, but we're 1,500 miles away and in the same country. You know what I mean? Like, these folks are like growing up with it and living out their fandom completely removed from it, from the physical presence.
Yeah, where it's not the number one sport.
And it's not even the number one sport. Absolutely.
It's barely in the top 5.
Absolutely.
You know, it's behind soccer. It's behind Formula One racing. I mean, there's a lot of
rugby.
Yeah. What's that thing they do with the bats?
Oh, cricket.
That too.
Yeah. Which is like, we got baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got the real way to use the bat.
Yeah.
But again, I digress. Let's not
offend all those. We do have many international listeners, and some of them, maybe 2 of them, are cricket fans. Oh, sorry. See, I shouldn't have done that.
They're what kind of fans?
They're cricket. There we go. See, that's what we were looking for right there. There you go.
I was a little slow with the fat fingers.
There you go. But hey, so thank you to Kev. Thank you for spending some time with us. Have fun, everybody. Be safe. That's going over there. We know a lot of folks that are going over.
Our buddy Rico is heading over there from
Rico's
Italy.
Heading up there. King Louis from right here down the road.
Yeah.
Man. He's headed overseas.
Oh man.
So y'all have fun. Be safe. Send us lots of pictures. Send us messages, and we know that you will, and we can't wait to share those back with everybody else. But also, Uncle Mosh, Kev had a follow up to his interview. We got done with the interview, and he goes. Murph, I was so nervous. He goes, I hope it was okay. I said, man, you were great. And he goes,
oh, man.
He said, but I forgot to shout out a bunch of people.
Well, I got him right here.
Okay.
He wants us to shout out the Wembley Mini Black Hole Buddies.
All right.
Steve McLeod, Ann Heather, Colin McDonald, Haley Cumming, King Louis, and Daisy Zavala, all the guys and girls at Silver and Black UK, as well as the worldwide Raider Nation. See you all in London, baby. And that's coming from Kev in Scotland. He's fired up, man.
That's awesome, man.
He's fired up.
That is awesome. Well, thanks again to all of you. And, man, can't wait. Hopefully this time. Last time we came back from London, we fired our head coach and we got blown out like 38-17. So hopefully this time on the way back from London, there's a W to celebrate. And obviously our coach isn't going to get fired, but who knows what else craziness is going to happen if we drop to 1-5. All right, Uncle Mosh. So on the show every week, we celebrate the number that we happen to be. So this week, we are rapidly approaching show number 100 here on Raiders Fan Radio, and we are at episode number 98 now. And so a lot of times, most of the time, we reference a player based on the number. But, Mosh, there's not really anybody that was significant that wore the number 98. Episode number 98 here, there was really not a lot going on. So last week also was kind of the same thing with the number 97. So we celebrated, or at least, took notice of the significance of the year 1997. Well, I thought this week might be appropriate to do the same thing. Since there's not a player that clearly represents the number 98, at least in terms of, significance, that we would reference the year 1998. Now, it's kind of a easy pick to go with 98 because that was John Gruden's first year.
Right.
That was his first year with the team. And we talk a lot about Gruden. We celebrate the tenure of the first time of John Gruden with the Raiders. But, Mosh, that's not where we're going to go.
Where are we going?
We're going to go with number 24. We're going to go with the other significant event that happened in 1998. And that was Al Davis drafting my man right here.
Preach it.
Charles Woodson.
Yeah, buddy.
One of the most significant Raiders in the history of the organization. When we do our Mount Rushmore question, a lot of people put number 24 on there. And this is despite him taking a 7-year hiatus and going over to the Green Bay Packers, where he turned in a defensive player of the year, won a Super Bowl trophy and whatnot. So let's talk a little bit about 24. So Charles Woodson, as I mentioned, drafted in 1998, played for the Raiders from 1998 to 2005 before going to the Packers up until 2012, but then returned to our Oakland Raiders in 2013 and played out the last 3 years of his career with the Raiders. Mosh, listen to this. Super Bowl champion, as I mentioned, with the Packers, 9-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first teamer, 4-time second team All-Pro, NFL Defensive Player of the Year, NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year, 2-time NFL interceptions leader, NFL 2000s All-Decade Team, a national champion, of course, with the Michigan Wolverines, Heisman Trophy winner, Walter Camp winner, Bronco Nagurski Trophy winner, Chuck Bednarik Award, Jim Thorpe Award, Sporting News Player of the Year, Big Ten Player of the Year, Big Ten Freshman of the Year, 2-time first team All-American, and the College Football Hall of Fame. Has 20 sacks in his career to go along with 33 forced fumbles, 65 interceptions, 13 defensive touchdowns, and 155 passes defended.
Man. Is there any other awards he didn't win?
He didn't win?
I
know, right?
I mean, seriously.
Like, this guy is going to be an absolute slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, please.
Look at it 2020, so let's put that on the list too. We might have to make the run up to Canton from here, which is about an 8-hour drive for us, and watch old Charles Woodson get inducted into the Hall of Fame, because that is certainly coming. So just in terms of his Raider career, 154 total games, and he started 151 of those, Uncle Mosh, 27 picks for the Raiders, 2 defensive touchdowns. But, the guy, he created 12 fumbles recovered, but 18 forced fumbles in his Raider career.
Crazy.
Just amazing.
That's crazy.
Man. He kind of invented that whole rip the ball out from the wide receiver.
If he didn't invent it, he mastered it.
He mastered it, right? Like, there was the peanut punch from Peanut Tillman from the Bears, where he would punch the ball out. But Woodson was all about ripping the ball out. Whenever you see defensive backs do that now on the tackle, where they go and they're trying to rip the ball out, we can thank number 24 for that. So I'm going to play a quote from, not a quote, but I'm going to play a soundbite from Charles Woodson. But before I do that, I want to read you my favorite quote of Charles Woodson, Uncle Mosh. Now, this was when he was a Packer. It wasn't when he was a Raider, but I thought this was so funny. So our former president, Barack Obama, was a huge Bears fan. Right. Huge Chicago sports fan, right? And he was unapologetically a Bears fan.
Sure.
And said that he wouldn't watch the Packers because he was such a big Bears fan. And I kind of respect that. I respect that. Well, Charles Woodson got wind of this and said, that's fine. If he doesn't want to come see us, we'll go see him. Because what do you do when you win the Super Bowl? You go visit the White House. So that's pretty legit, man. I thought that was cool. Charles Woodson. That's okay. We'll go see him. But but in terms of his Raider career, we're going to play the audio. This is Uncle Mosh of Charles Woodson in the huddle before his last game. And this is, we talk a lot about how sports many times can transcend, right? It becomes bigger than the game. It becomes bigger than just in between the lines and on the field. And these are one of those kinds of speeches to me that kind of reaches out and transcends a little bit. And so let's hear from Charles Woodson before his last game.
Hey, as good as this field, man, to have this turnout, man, to have people cheering my name, just want y'all to understand something, man. It's bigger than me. Always has been bigger than me. If you understand that, you understand that it's bigger than you too. It ain't about one individual. It never is. We can never get done what we want to accomplish with one individual. So I share this night with my teammates, with my brothers, you understand? Because it's bigger than me, it's bigger than you, but it ain't bigger than us. So we're gonna go out here tonight, we're gonna ride. Bring it up. This thing is about family, it's about love, and it's about the fight to go out there and win. Bigger than me on 3. 1, 2, 3. Bigger than me.
Nice.
Isn't that amazing?
Nice. Yes.
Uncle Mosh, it's bigger than you, it's bigger than me, but it isn't bigger than us.
Man.
How cool is that, man?
Jeez.
Oh,
I love it. He says, if you get it, you get it. You understand it. Yeah. Wow.
You know who's standing next to him in that huddle?
Tell me.
Who do you think?
What?
Apparently it isn't bigger than him.
No?
No. Because now he's a bear.
That's that's I have no memories of that. We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that.
Jeez. Turn that up.
Hey everybody, this is Johnny Spencer from the punk rock band Stringer, and you're listening to Raiders Fan Radio with Murph and Uncle Mosh. Go Raiders, baby.
Uncle Mosh, new friend of the show,
Man.
Johnny Spencer, man.
Give him a plug, man. God, they rock, dude.
All right, so Johnny Spencer is the drummer for a rock band called Stringer. He's from Oakland. He's a huge Raiders fan, huge A's fan. And he went viral this last week because there's a video out there of a Yankees fan dumping a beer on him after the Yankees beat the A's. Insult to injury because our A's got their butts kicked, right? And then the guy gets a beer dumped on him. But anyway, so we reached out to Johnny, and he was gracious enough to spend some time with us. So we had a great interview with Johnny. We're going to feature that next week. A little bit of a shakeup in our format next week because we'll be on the bye week.
Sure.
You've got some real life to attend to. So we're going to feature, I'm going to do a little bit bit of a podcast selfie, and then we'll definitely have that interview with Johnny Spencer to share with you all for next week. So look for that on episode number 99 here on Raiders Fan Radio. Uncle Mosh. All right, so before we get to the 4-minute offense, we're going to take a minute to pick on one of our favorite ex-Raiders head coaches. Since we picked on him so much last week, we
got a lot of good response about that.
We actually
too.
did. A lot of people really enjoyed us picking on Lane Kiffin or one Lance Kiffin.
Lance.
So apparently, in the spirit of always people, not going to say copying our flow, but they tend to reference whatever topical thing we're on, whatever you and I seem to lock in on.
Yeah.
A lot of times people will find that in like national media.
Sure, we're trendsetters.
Now, I'm not saying David Carr is listening to Raiders Fan Radio. He might. But he told a story about Lane Kiffin and kind of picked on Lane. Now, David and Lane were roommates at Fresno State. And so at a Fresno State game, David and also NFL Network host Dan Hellie were having a conversation. And Dan asked David about his time as Lane Kiffin's roommate. And here's what he had to say.
Did you room with Lane Kiffin when you were here? I did room with Lane Kiffin. Lane was great. I mean, he's exactly what you'd expect Lane to be. Lane was just a fifth-year guy that didn't want to give his job up to a freshman. I totally get it.
Who would?
I get it. And then I started taking reps from him in practice. And his last day as a Bulldog player was when he came out. We were supposed to be in full pads. He came out with shorts and a T-shirt on. And Jeff Tedford says, Lane, what are you doing? And he's like, well, I figured I could come out here in shorts and a T-shirt because you're just going to give all my reps to Dave.
Oh, my God. That's the greatest story I've ever heard.
And he sends him in, get off the field. So he leaves practice, disappears. I'm like, okay, Lane quit, right? Well, Monty Kiffin is Lane's dad. Sure, Monty's a coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, defensive coordinator at the time. Monty's not having this, right? About 30 minutes goes by. Lane comes back out without his helmet, shorts and a T-shirt, and he is now the wide receiver assistant coach. That's how his coaching career began.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that day.
Isn't that great, Mom?
I love it.
Isn't that great? I
mean, we always know how Lane deals with adversity.
Oh, my gosh. I know, right?
He makes a call and gets another job.
Bails it. Ron in the chat says, I wish I could fail upwards half as well as Lane Kiffin does. Oh, I know. It's just crazy. So I don't know. Just any chance to pick on Lane Kiffin. I mean, why not? At least, and Lane seems to have a good sense of humor. As far as self-awareness goes, he's pretty, on point, and there's a lot of lack of self-awareness in the world these days, but he's got it. He may be an idiot, but at least he's aware of the
Yeah, but he's an aware idiot.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. So I hope you guys enjoyed that.
Hey, this is Pete Koch, former Los Angeles Raiders. Yeah, back in the old days, baby. And you're listening to Murph and Uncle Mosh, who happens to have the same hair as me. Check it out, Raiders Fan Radio.
All right, Murph. Well, that was our old buddy Pete Koch. Pete Koch. Pete's almost he's almost our first made man interviewer.
I know, one more.
We got to. Well,
Kevin technically is.
That's true. That's true.
Kevin the Raider Nerd is technically our first made man interview. But
former Raider player.
And Kevin doesn't have quite the IMDb that Pete does.
No. And nor the hair that Pete and I have.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah. Okay, so hey,
all right.
4-minute offense. You got your clock set, buddy?
I got it, man. All right, and are you gonna lead us?
I'll start us off, and then we'll just go from there.
Okay, all right, here we go.
Okay, so right off the bat, the Raiders got a 5% chance of making the playoffs despite a 1-4 start. 5 teams in the last 25 years have not only made the playoffs, but won a game. They were, 92 Chargers, the Chiefs, the Texans, and, number 4 and number 5, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter who they are. So a 1-4 start, and I think, didn't one of those teams, the Chiefs, they went 1-5.
They went 1-5,
and still made the playoffs. Yeah. So, hey, look, 5% chance is better than no percent chance.
Exactly.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Always.
And,
I am drunk, Raider drunk.
You're Raider drunk. And Uncle Mosh, so here's why I think this might even be semi-realistic of a chance. 3 of the next 5 games are against teams also with a 1-4 record. So we got the Colts, we got the Niners, the Jimmy G-less Niners, and the Cardinals and Josh Rosen, who are struggling. So pretty winnable games. Uncle Mosh, is it possible we could wake up here in the next few weeks and be 4-4?
Yep. Think about it. 4-4 after 8 games. That's halfway.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. No. All right. Hey, left tackle Colton Miller, stud of the week in my book. Ask me why.
Why, Uncle Mosh?
He played the game through a grade 2 MCL sprain on Sunday. Dude had ripped ligaments in his knees, man. What a stud. The rest of the team can learn from Colton Miller.
Absolutely.
Suck it up, get out there, and get after it, dude. I love him.
Do you know much about sprains or strains? I don't know a ton, but I know that like a grade 3 is a tear. Like it's like you're out.
It's detached.
That's the season-ending injury is grade 3. So grade 1 is like, it just like it's bruised.
That's tweaked.
Yeah.
Sure.
So for a 2, like, can you make it worse? Do you know?
Well, I mean, he's obviously going to be playing in a brace, but from here on out.
So they can stabilize it essentially. So,
sure.
So what he's doing, and I think this is cool, is that he's not running a risk of, making it worse, but he's playing through the pain. And that's legit. That's absolutely legit. So, okay, Uncle Mosh, what's up with Amari Cooper? He played 50 of 52 snaps last week. He's got 1 target for 10 yards. Now, in Amari Cooper's last 17 games, he's got 10 games under 30 yards. Granted, he's got 4 games over 100 yards and 3 between 30 and 99 yards. But Uncle Mosh, he's our number 1 receiver. This guy is a, quote, generational talent. How come he disappears, man? I don't understand. Is it on Carr? Is it play calling? Is it him? I just look around the league and I see guys like Julio Jones and A.J. Green and Antonio Brown and DeAndre Hopkins. And I don't see these guys struggling because the defense is keying on them. Why is it that our number 1 receiver disappears for games and other teams' number 1 wide receivers still seem to get open?
I know, right? It's making me crazy. Okay, hey, you're up.
Oh, I'm up again. Okay, so the Raiders this year, Uncle Mosh, are allowing 7 yards per play on defense. Uncle Mosh, that is the most since the merger in 1970. That's not a Raiders stat. That's an in the NFL stat. Ooh. So in the history of the league, we are giving up most yards per play. We have way bigger issues than what's going on with Derek Carr. Granted, it's an issue, not to be ignored, not to ignore Marshawn, but we have way bigger issues with this football team, especially on defense.
All right. That brings me to mine. Give the ball to Marshawn. Pretty please. With sugar on top. Give the ball to Marshawn.
And they'll run out of time. And it costs.
Well, it's a rookie mistake.
Nicely
right
done.
here, he's got to go down.
Nicely done, Mosh.
Thank you, sir.
Man,
Good job.
You hit the post, as they say in the Bills.
And I even made it buzz.
You're listening to The Violator, and I'm live on Raider Fan Radio. Where you at, baby?
Hey, Murph.
Uncle Mosh.
You know what time it is?
I think it's time for the Sea of Fans mailbag.
Come on.
There he is, baiting, looking. He's under the gun. He's caught, he throws. It is. Oh, he caught it.
All right. So what we got? We talked about it earlier. We said we've got some emails, we've got some voicemails, we got all kinds of stuff. But one of the couple of guys that we want to recognize here is Raider Jack. Raider Jack's out of Albany, Oregon. First time writer.
Okay.
Raider Jack wasn't raised in Oregon. He was originally from Indianapolis, but he moved to Las Vegas. And he goes on in his email to tell me that he was so fired up about the Raiders moving to Las Vegas and not L.A. or San Antonio or San Diego or any place like that. And he said the reason he was so fired up is that he wore silver and black all through junior high school and high school. And that was back in the day when he was watching the L.A. Raiders and Jeff Hostetler and Art Shell coaching. And, man, he said he's always loved the Raider in black regardless of being born in Indianapolis. And then he talks a little bit about Pepe, but I loved it. He ends, the reason that we're reading him is he says, but no one wants to hear about the horseshoe. We want to hear about the Raiders. And I love him for that. But later on, he said he moved to Oregon and was really, desperate for stuff about the Raiders. And he stumbled onto us. And he said he loves listening to us, and he actually likes listening to you and Mikey and Murph.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that.
We give him props for that. But he comes up, he's got some questions, and we'll talk about it in a second.
All right.
But he says, "Hey Murph,
okay,
things I'd like to know.
Hey Jack,
what is a Doug Martin?"
What?
Not who. What is a Doug Martin?
What is a Doug Martin?
Hey Murph, where's Derek Johnson?
What? Okay, hold on. You want me to do these one at a time?
I'm going to hand this to you.
Okay,
He says, what is a Doug Martin? Where is Derek Johnson? And he says, we have a top 5 offense that can't finish. Why?
Wow.
Seriously. He goes, when you look at us in the red zone and we throw a pass play, He wants you to comment on that.
Right.
But then he goes on and he says, we got a good running game, and we all know that those of us that have been around football, that a running game sets up a passing attack.
Yeah.
And of course he goes on for about 3 paragraphs to espouse, Marshawn Lynch, and he even says, he's old, but he didn't start producing until the second half of last season, blah blah blah. But he calls him the old man beast mode. He says, let's get old man beast mode out there, and he wants to see a little bit more of Chris Warren and everything. But I love what he talks about. He understands the game. What does a running game do? And it sets up the pass. But he finishes out his email, his doctoral thesis here that went on for page after page, and he does this really awesome thing. He calls it the Scouting Civil War. And he equates Gruden with Captain America and McKenzie with Tony Stark.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
And he draws all these things, and he says, hell, I'd kill it in Madden, but if I was an owner, I'd destroy the salary. He goes, because I destroy the salary cap on Madden.
Yeah.
Sometimes signing jackholes that don't produce. But wait a minute, I still play Madden 15. So, he did a really good job, making some jokes and stuff. But he ends with his whole email, and he says, "Let Gruden do his thing. He's trying to build us from complete trash with only like 3 or 4 working parts. Let's not lose faith. Let's just get through this losing season, and I'll put money down, though, next season with some key players we have now in an off season as good as the one as good as this one." Excuse me, if I could just read this. Anyway, he's talking about next year. We're going to come out swinging, and I loved it. He, anybody that can say that, if we're rebuilding and people talk about Derek Carr and how he's having to relearn, relearn the new offense and everything, and they're all trying to work on how they relate. Hey, Gruden's got the same thing to do with McKenzie, Yeah. He has to learn how to work with him.
That's
too.
true. That's a good point.
So he touches on a great point. But he ends this really well, and he says, "Let the silver and black in our veins flow."
Ooh, nice.
He should have entered that.
Nice.
In the contest.
I know that would have been good.
So
that's so Raider Jack.
Hats off to you, Raider Jack, out of Albany, Oregon.
Awesome. Thank you, Raider Jack. Appreciate that email, my friend, and appreciate you reaching out to us here on Raiders Fan Radio. So let's go ahead and hit a couple of these questions before you get to the email. So what is a Doug Martin? The first thing that popped into my head was 2 yards a carry. But when you but you know what though? When you look at him you look at his stats though. Uncle Mosh, surprisingly, he's actually having the best yards per carry average that he's had over the past 3 years. So his best year was in 2015 when he ran for 1,400 yards. He's done that twice in his career, most recently in 2015. And then he averaged less than 3 yards a carry the last 2 years. But this year, he's got 27 attempts and he's got 99 yards. So that averages out at 3.7 yards a carry. That's actually
it's a couple under what the league average is. Remember I read that last week, which was like 4.2 or something like that.
Yeah, and that's shocking to me because the eye test tells you that, it's terrible. Because every time we watch a game, what do we always say? That, why they run Doug Martin?
Yeah.
Marshawn does well, and then we follow that up with a Doug Martin run for 2 yards.
But remember, Marshawn was like 9.6. 9.6 yards
He was
carry.
way high.
He was like almost double the league average.
The league average at one point,
and so
now
there it is.
That's changed since this last week.
Sure.
But anyways, so that was interesting. I mean, look, I'm not a huge Doug Martin fan. I don't think anybody is, but I mean, the numbers don't lie, and they're not terrible. They're not terrible, but anyways, I digress there. Where is Derek Johnson? Derek Johnson is like, I don't know, my age. I say that jokingly, but he's like in his 35 years old. He's coming off of ACLs. The guy he's giving up playing time to the young men. Markel Lee, Tahir Whitehead has emerged as the play caller on our defense. I know there's a couple of plays that Tahir would have wanted to have back against the Chargers, but for the most part, he's holding it down at middle linebacker. And I think that, Gruden got highly criticized for bringing in the veterans, and that's a fair criticism, I think. But ultimately, the reason he brings those guys in is because they are the conduit for the exchange of information between the coaching staff and the young players. So when you see Derek Johnson, when you see Leon Hall, when you see these guys get brought in, it may sound funny, but it's not so much of their on-field performance as it is their ability to be an extension of the staff.
Sure, there's a lot more involved.
There's a lot more involved. And so I think that's what's up with Derek Johnson. And then last up, he says, we have a top 5 offense. When are we going to get that rolling in as far as the wall that we're running into? Mosh, I'm a Derek Carr apologist, but I will be willing to speak out and hold him accountable to the idea that 5 of the interceptions he's thrown this year have been on first down. He's not doing it. He's not throwing picks trying to force the ball in a 3rd and long or you know what I mean? Desperation passes at the end of a half or something. You're talking about throwing picks on 1st and 10, you know what I mean? 1st and goal. And they're usually after an explosive play or a long drive. And those are killers, man. I don't care what the numbers tell you your offense is. When you do those things and you deflate the momentum, those are just brutal, right? When we think back to this game that we watched last week, when he threw that interception in the end zone, I just remember just reaching out and just being gosh, I can't believe that just happened.
Again,
I'm right. I mean, it's that to me is it doesn't matter what the stats tell you, Raider Jack. So what is going to help this top 5 offense is getting out of those plays.
Yep.
Having that situational awareness and not doing that kind of stuff because those are just momentum.
They're just killers, yeah.
They're just killers, and it just deflates the entire team.
And I think Derek knows it. He addressed it in his post game speech. He said, I got to calm down. I got to calm down. I got to calm down. I got to quit rushing it.
Absolutely.
And that's what happens. But
absolutely.
All right, so let's hear from Rico in Italy. We've heard from Kevin, Scotland, and now we're hearing from Rico in Italy. So Rico says, "Hey, brothers, it's Rico again here, giving you some good news in between these hard times we're living in. Yes, last game was a punch in the gut." And then he quotes, "Damn, I hate Philip." Who? and I'm glad he didn't say his whole name. So he goes on to talk about some really cool stuff. And Rico says we have to start. He turns that what I thought at first was going to be a negative just another, gosh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Like we've heard so many. But he turns it around, man. Like in the third sentence, he says, we have to start to generate some positive energy from the sidelines to the locker rooms, from the field to the stadium seats, from the fans to the players, and keep going week after week with a winning mentality. Even if we are losing, now forget about last game. Forget about last game. Forget it. Rico in Italy. Hey, forget about it. All right. So Rico goes on to say, man, he is so fired up. And this is really cool. He says, it really doesn't matter the result of the next game. He's talking about in Wembley, all in caps. I will be at Wembley this Sunday. So he's making the trek from Italy to London. And he says, I'll be with a winning mentality. Oh, yeah, baby. The dream of my life coming true. I can see my team live for the first time ever. I was already planning from the beginning of the year because I have one of my best friends from childhood living in London and working in the banking industry. This guy has great contacts with business owners, and we've decided to do it big. Everything for my Raiders. So he says, we got the most expensive options possible in the chairman's suite. Yes, I am more of a black hole type, but hey, can you imagine this? I'll be wearing a suit, and underneath will be a Raiders jersey, and I'll be screaming, just win, baby, in between a bunch of business people. Priceless.
Oh, that is amazing. Nicely done, Rico.
Rico finishes it off with, he said, hey, think about me as I grab my platinum package tickets today. Oh, yeah, baby. Also, food and drinks included all day. Feel the energy in the air, and as I walk into the stadium, proud of who I am, and I am a Raider. And then he goes on, to say lots of wonderful things about me. And
he loves you. And you're big in Italy.
Yeah, yeah. And
the Italians love you.
Well, I'm kind of big everywhere. You've seen my shadow. But he did say some wonderful things about you, too. And he said, I'm Raider drunk, too. I'm a diehard, and I will not stop drinking. Raiders forever. And then, once again, he says, hey, Uncle Mosh, and he sends me out some kudos. And he said to you, the last sentence of his wonderful email, he says, you are the impersonation of patience for doing your podcast with Mikey. For those of you that don't listen to it, you need to. Mondays with Mikey and Murph. And you have a lot of fun with that. We have a lot of fun with that.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, he's a great guy. So
absolutely. Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say it's all lighthearted. We love to poke fun at one another. That's what it's all about. And so I'm glad to personify the patience. I'm not known around the house as being the patient one.
No. I'm glad that the door's closed and your family didn't hear that, because they'd be screaming, you know what?
Yeah. So it starts with a B and ends with a T, and in the middle is But thank you, Rico, man. That's the kind of stuff, man. That's an amazing. Speaking of personification, that's personifying Raider Nation right there.
Baby.
You know what I mean? That's so cool, and so glad to hear that he's going to get a chance to see the Raiders and represent Raider Nation. Now, in his email, Uncle Mosh, he talked about the name. Is it not the name above all names that shouldn't be spoken? Because that's the guy in Chicago now.
Right.
But right behind him is the guy in L.A., formerly San Diego.
The guy that went ahead of Wilson's old partner.
Yes.
Yeah. The guy that's ahead of Wilson's old partner.
Yeah, that guy.
Wilson, my new partner.
Your new partner.
Right.
Because his old partner
left him.
That's right. The guy he started off on Bosom Buddies.
Let me tell you what, I'd have jumped off that raft. I'd have got off that raft and gone after Wilson.
That's why Wilson is back with you.
That's right.
So that guy, he was Forrest Gump. Some people call him a famous actor. He's a big Raider fan, or at least was. And then we had that whole thing with him, and he's just not welcome around here. But Wilson
will always be welcome.
Wilson is always welcome here on Raiders Fan Radio. All right, so anyway, the name in between the guy in Chicago and the guy that was Forrest Gump, in between there is the quarterback for the Los Angeles Chargers. Uncle Mosh, we're not going to do 3 reasons this week, but I would like to cover 3 reasons why we hate that guy.
Okay, let's talk about him.
Or wait, why we don't hate anybody.
We don't hate anybody.
Why we strongly dislike
why we don't
guy.
say his name.
Why we don't say it. Do you want to go first?
There's so many. Do we have to stop at 3?
No, we don't have to. You want me to? I'll be glad to
no,
start.
I'll kick it off. I'll tell you why we don't like it.
I got my...
That's your list.
Yeah, I got my list.
And that's the abridged version.
The abridged version. Yeah.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I don't like him. The guy has more kids than the entire Carr family.
David Carr, Derek Carr, all of their kids, Mama and Papa Carr, all the cars.
All the cars. He's got more cars than LA. No. He's got more kids. He's got more kids than all of San Diego.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why they had to move to LA, because they were running out of housing. Yeah.
Jeez. But you know what? But there's things on the field that he does, mister.
There is.
There's stuff there's reasons other than joking reasons. There's legit reasons.
There's legit reasons, right? Okay, so everybody likes to make fun about his kids, and that's an easy target. And I make fun of him all the time about it. But there really is a couple of reasons that just to go back to this last game.
Drives me nuts.
The things that this guy does, okay? So here's just two things.
So we did want to change his name from Philip Blank to Captain Red Ass.
Yeah.
So we can call him that for this bit.
So that's actually the third thing, right? So that's another thing.
Because the way that wasn't even on the list.
They're already up winning big, and he's screaming at the officials about a play call that went against the Chargers, and he's beat red, and he's screaming, "You know it! You know that was." And I'm like, dude, get over yourself. You're up 20.
You're up 20 with 4 minutes left to play, and you want to act like that?
Yeah, just all right. So that's one of the reasons we don't like him. Another reason, Uncle Mosh, he scooches.
Tell me about scooch. First of all, I know how to spell scooch. Tell him what a scooch is.
A scooch is when you kind of nudge. You go forward a little bit.
You're in victory formation, right?
Yes.
You know, the best formation in all of football.
All of football. What do 99 out of 100, not even more than that, 999 out of 1,000 quarterbacks, what do they do when
even at a high school level?
Even at a high school level, what do they do when they take a knee, Uncle Mosh, in the victory formation?
The center hands them the ball. There's light contact. They take a knee. Out of respect.
They kneel backwards, essentially.
Absolutely.
They even will sometimes take a half a step back, and they will kneel. Philip, on the other hand, doesn't want to take a loss on the play, and he takes the ball and scooches up and takes his knee at the line of scrimmage. Drives me nuts. Every other quarterback, like you said, from high school up, in Pee-wee that we've coached, we teach the kids to take a step back and kneel down. Philip, however, scooches up to the line of scrimmage.
Why do you got to scooch?
Well, you got to be a scoocher, Philip. And then the last thing that Philip does that drives us nuts is that this came across on the broadcast this week, and you and I were watching the game, and we heard something, and I paused it, and we looked at each other, and we were like, Did we just hear that? Did you just hear that?
Yeah.
So we rewound it and played it again, and we just heard that and recorded it.
Now, what was the score here?
Oh, I don't know.
They were still up 20.
We were still up. It was a lot to a little for the whole game for the most part. And so Philip up at the line of scrimmage, like most quarterbacks do, is calling out his audibles and his changes and his protections and whatnot. And then all of a sudden he pipes up and he says this.
Nice defense, huh? Is that 180?
Play it again.
Here we go, one more time. Listen to right off the beginning.
Nice defense, huh? Is that 180?
I don't want to hear no more of his voice.
Uncle Moshi looks out over and he goes, nice defense, huh?
What is that? Are you just going to do you just where's Bruce Irvin with a cheap shot when you need him?
I know. I know. Now maybe I get it. As much as I was on Bruce for doing that, well, I kind of get it. I mean, it still was a dumb play. But
it was.
My
but that's not the point.
Come on. That guy drives me bananas. All right, let's quit it. This isn't Rivers fan radio here. All right. All right, Uncle Mosh, let's get into
Unless we're going to talk about the Cuyahoga.
Is it Hooga or Hoga?
I don't know.
Who's up, hose down? That's never going to get old.
Ever.
All right, here we go. Let's go to our first caller this week. We're going to hear from our buddy Steve in Houston. First-time caller.
Hey, Murph, Uncle Mosh. This is Houston Raider Steve. I've been an Oakland Raider fan since October 17th, 1968. I was a kid living in Chicago. I remember it vividly. It was Kurt Gowdy and L.D. Rogatis calling the game. Very first Raider game I ever saw. It was, I fell in love with watching the Mad Bomber out there on the field, slinging it all over the place. I love the colors, the pirate. And I was a kid and everything. I watched the whole game and everything. And at the end of the game, since we lived in Chicago, east of the Mississippi, they didn't get to see what happened at the end of the game. anyway, so here I am watching the game, all excited, it's just watching a great game, back and forth. And all of a sudden they show the girl up on the side of the hill hiding with a goat. And I thought, man, I'm ripped off, man. I didn't get to see the end of this game after really, enjoying watching, LaMonica and the team play. Like Joe Namath says, the best game that, Davey didn't see. Anyway, in the New York Times, they had a big full-page ad and everything in it. And I remember that 50 years ago, man. I'm going to go out probably, I go watch it at Molly's Pub over there in Kingwood. They got my Raiders car flying up there. I want to dedicate this call to my mom. She passed away a year ago on the 16th. And also, I want to also dedicate this to Al Davis. I remember, we all know where we were when he passed away and everything. The next game, the game was against the Texans, Houston Texans here in Houston. I saw Rhinestone Raider out there, and she had an owl patch. I was sitting up in the upper deck of the south end zone when Michael Huff intercepted that ball. Hugh Jackson on the sidelines crying. I got tears in my eyes, and I'm crying because you can't think of the Raiders without Al Davis and vice versa. And I've been a lifelong fan. I call the local and national shows. Everybody knows me as that Raider fan that calls in. Even the Houston Texans flagship station, I call them once in a while, and I catch the brief. People, tell me my team sucks. I hear it from everybody. That makes me more of a Raider fan when people just like my team because I'm not going to walk the plank. I'm like you, Murph and Mosh, and all the great Raider fans that call in your show. Raider fan for life. And my sister went to high school with Steve Wisniewski, so of course that was really interesting. Her friend's sister married him, and unfortunately they're divorced now and everything. And he's works for Napoleon Kaufman's church in Dublin, I believe.
Airing it out.
Anyway, big, long-time Raider fan, big fan of the show. Just started listening recently. Heard about it from Mikey, and I'm also listening to Raider Nation podcast and the other ones. But you do a great job, and go Raiders. We're going to be back, baby, and never, we're never going to walk the plank. God bless.
That's awesome. Thank you,
Steve.
Yeah, thank you, Steve in Houston. First-time caller from Chicago, Raider fan. That's the special thing about Raider Nation, man, is that it knows no bounds, Uncle Mosh.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool stuff. So, condolences for losing your mom there. That's sad. And he actually called us twice. He had another lengthy, and I'm not saying that begrudgingly. I love the voicemails, but it cut you off after 3 minutes. So he kind of called us back. But in the first voicemail, Mosh, he kind of went on a little bit about his mom and about what a big football fan she was.
Oh, nice.
How much she loved John Gruden. She would watch Monday Night Football just to hear him break down film and all that kind of stuff. And I thought that was pretty cool. And it reminded me a lot of the stories that you would tell us about Grandma Jenny, about your mom, because she was a big football fan.
She was a huge football fan. She loved all sports, and we always say that probably the most famous story of them all was when, we lost her to cancer, and but she was a nut. My mom was a nut. She was a lot of fun. She went when she told us, when she called to tell me that she had cancer, she says, "Hey, this is like in July. Hey," I said, "Yeah, Ma, good to hear from you. Hey, did you buy my Christmas present yet?" I said, "No, Ma, it's not the 24th of December. What do you mean?" She goes, "Well, don't get me a calendar." I said, "What? When have I ever bought you a calendar?" And she says, "I got the cancer." And I said, and I go, "Well, Ma," she goes, "I gotta go." And, yeah. Well, she hung on for 3 or 4 or 5 more years. I don't remember what it was. But she was a nut.
She was a nut.
So there was one time, I can't remember who it was playing in the playoffs, and so we get the call, right? "Oh, you got to make your way out here." I called you, and I said, "Hey, we got to go. We got to go to the West Coast, man." Grandma Jenny's, my mom's not doing so good. And you're like, "What?" "Yeah, I got the call." Well, then, of course, my brother calls me later, and I go, "Man, what's going on? Is Mom on her deathbed?" And he goes, "No." And I go, "What?" And he goes, "We all go flying up to the hospital, and she's sitting in the chair." We go, "What do you mean she's sitting in the chair?" He goes flying into the room, and she goes, "Oh, good, you're here. Go get me some beer."
The game's on.
Excuse me. She goes, "Yeah, the game's on. Shut up." "Ma, what?" She goes, "Oh, I just faked it a little bit, and they called you up. I need some beer." Okay. Yeah. She went and got the beer.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
they went and got the beer. But yeah.
That's
So
awesome. Well, and speaking of that, so I'm going to show, it's for the YouTube crowd. I'm going to show this. Look at these old glasses that we have here, these old tumblers. That's these old Oakland Raiders tumblers. These were your mom's. These were in your house growing up.
That's what we drank out of. Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's
old
cool.
school, old school, man. Old school.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So it's a legacy for sure. So I'm with Steve in Houston, man.
That's
Mom's,
cool stuff.
Mom's rock, dude.
That's cool. That's cool. All right, Uncle Mosh. Next up, we're going to hear from Chuck, another new caller to the show. Charleston. I've never heard.
Chucktown. Where is that?
It's Charleston. I've never heard it referred to
it's
as
called
Chucktown.
Chucktown.
Yeah, and he says this is Chucktown Raiders.
I thought maybe that might have been where Gruden was from.
Chucktown?
Hey, Murph, this is the Chucktown Raider calling all the way from Charleston, South Carolina. Want to say I love you and Uncle Mosh. Y'all are fantastic. My favorite show to listen to, and you even make Mikey bearable. I got love for Mikey too, man. But anyways, hey, y'all, I just want to bring something up, something I haven't heard anybody mention yet. I think you might have touched on a little bit, Murph, and that is, are we forgetting that this is a completely new scheme, all new coaching staff? I mean, who comes out and has a fantastic year with brand new signal calls, brand new offense and defensive schemes and everything? These guys are working from the ground up, all new staff, coaching staff, and in addition to that, they only kept 19 guys from the old roster. So I mean, they're like you said many times, Murph. They're learning to play together and all this stuff. And of course, the media that doesn't have any love for the silver and black are gonna criticize, and everything. They're gonna pick on he who shall remain unnamed in my call. I don't call you guys or listen to you guys because you cover Chicago Bears football anyway. But I think it has a whole lot to do with just being a brand new system and a lot less to do with all the sensationalized things. But I'll listen when you guys come out with your next show and see what your take is on it. But love y'all, and you have a fantastic day. Go Raiders!
Awesome. Great call there from Chucktown Raider from there in Charleston, man. That's pretty cool. That's a new nickname for Charleston. Not familiar with that one, but I appreciate the phone call. And I think that's a fair point. Is that there's a lot of new things going on now. There is also a case to be made for that there are and is a such thing as teams turning it around quickly. We see it happen every year, and even though we're not Bears fan radio, we see that the Bears, at least to this point, have turned it around pretty quickly from being, one of the worst teams in the NFL last year to now already being 3-1. Now, granted, we're a long, long ways away, and we'll see how this thing shakes out. But I think that there are some detractors that would say that there is a case that it could turn around quickly. But for the most part, and I think your point is very well taken, that it takes time. You have to assemble these things. And when the quarterback has had a new offensive coordinator every year, when the quarterback has had a new head coach every year, it's hard to find that consistency and that continuity. And they're, for the most part, quarterbacks thrive when they're in systems longer. I used to, back in the day, I was not necessarily the biggest Peyton Manning fan, even before he went to Denver. And really wise, because I felt that he always overachieved in the regular season and kind of came up short in the playoffs, which was kind of his MO there for a while. But when you look at Peyton, one of the things that used to frustrate me as somebody that wanted my team to do better than what he was doing was that he always had the same guy. It was always Tony Dungy, and it was always Tom Moore. Those were his two guys. That was his offensive coordinator, and that was his head coach. And
the center.
And Jeff Saturday was there for a million years.
Yep.
And so, Peyton struggled early on in his career, but clearly came out of that just fine. But maybe Carr is one of those guys, and we don't know because we've never seen him with anybody for any length of time. So maybe there is a case to be said for consistency and continuity. Let's leave Greg Olson. Let's leave John Gruden in place for more than just a year. This whole idea of let's fire him. Stop it. It's not going to happen. First and foremost, let me say this. Mark Davis is going to be the owner of the Raiders. John Gruden is going to be the head coach. And Derek Carr is going to be your quarterback for the foreseeable future. So get used to it. So quit it with that whole rhetoric of, they need to sell the team and John Gruden needs to be We were all celebrating the fact that John Gruden got hired in February, and now you're freaking out saying you're going to get fired 5 games into this thing. So slow your roll. You got to be patient. I know it sucks. It frustrates me too. I don't like it losing any more than anybody else does. But I know this. What we haven't tried yet is having the same thing in place for longer than 2.5 years or 2 years and 4 games, a la Dennis Allen, right? Like, let's let this thing breathe a little bit. Let's see what Carr does under this system. Let's see what he does with consistency at head coach and offensive coordinator. And now I'm out of breath. Uncle Mosh, what do you think?
You're killing me.
Man,
I love it.
Apparently that had to come out.
Yeah. What do you really think, Mark?
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because Chucktown Raider made a really funny comment about Mikey earlier, and you go, "We love you, Mikey." Mikey don't listen to us.
Actually, he does. Mikey listens to us. He listens to us. Yeah. But that's funny. All right, Uncle Mosh. Next up, let's go hear from Made Man. Now we got a couple Made Men here, and let's hear from our buddy Diego in Georgia.
Hey, what's up, Murph? What's up, Uncle Mosh? It's me, Diego from Georgia. I'm watching the game right now. It's 4:44 left in the fourth quarter. Kind of sucks. I mean, we're losing. Obviously, it does not look like we're gonna win. I mean, short of a miracle, but it's all good, man. Got to keep it positive. You know, there's still a lot of football left. I still, everyone should still root for the silver and black. I don't care if you want to jump ship or not. Don't do it, man, because when they start winning, then you're going to be like, damn, I should have won. I should have been rooting for my team, but I'm still rooting for them, man. It sucks, but like you said, man, think about back 2009, and so everyone's pissed off, just think about 2009. Shoot, think about even before that. There was way worse times, think about freaking Dennis Allen's first year, second year. Come on, man. But yeah, it sucks, but, it could be worse, and who knows, maybe we'll start winning out, like, after this week. Anyway, take it easy, guys. I'll keep watching the game, even though it's hard to watch, but you never know what can happen. Look at last week. So let's see. But if not, it's still Raider Nation till I die. Take care, guys.
All right, there's our buddy Diego in Georgia. So, on a timely fashion, he mentioned it hasn't been, or it's been worse than what it is right now. So we probably should slow our roll a little bit. And, Uncle Mosh, when we look at, like I just referenced Dennis Allen, and so did he. Dennis Allen went 4-12 in back-to-back seasons and followed that up in year number 3 with 0-4 before Mark Davis fired him on the plane on the way home from London. So that is, now I'm not a math man, but 16 and 16 is 32 plus 4 is 6. So that's 8 games out of 36 games coached the Raiders won. That's awful.
Yeah,
that
not
was
good. Not
not
good.
that long ago. So yes, it's been a lot worse at other times. So I think that's definitely fair to, understand that there are, look, just because it was bad then doesn't mean that's okay that it's bad now. Again, I get it, but let's go back to that. Let's keep a big picture outlook here, and let's find some consistency.
That's right.
Because
big picture.
when you jump coaches every year or every other year, it just doesn't work. Before we get to the next call, someone run by you, Uncle Mosh.
Oh, yeah, hit.
We got some great activity in the chat. Thank you to Ron, Raider Vic, Mean, Mario, DeHarda, Joe Bariso, a lot of great folks, Tony in the chat room. And so Raider Vic asked this. Then I'm going to ask you this. Uncle Mosh, you were a long-time and still are a long-time coach. What is up with the Raiders have a lot of veterans, as we mentioned earlier, a lot of veterans on the team. And while the expected performance on the field may not be, as I mentioned, that may not have been the biggest reason to bring them in, as it may have been that exchange of information and knowledge. But he mentions that there's kind of a lack of leadership on the team. And so Vic asked, where are the leaders on defenses? And so I would ask you that, Mosh, with all these veterans in there, with all these guys like Derek Johnson and Leon Hall and all that, where's our leaders? Like, why aren't those guys stepping up, at least emerging as the leaders of the team, vocally, whatnot?
Well, I would say this. I'd say this, Murph. You may not have the best player on the field as your leader. If you're lucky, your best player on the field is your leader. you know? And so sometimes leadership, and it's a two-edged sword. So hang with me.
Okay.
Sometimes leadership, when it's the best player on the field is a leader, that's huge, okay? But sometimes your best player on the field is a real jackwagon.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And how many times, I mean, my gosh, we can name player after player after player.
Terrell Owens.
The
first one that comes to mind. Sure,
there's so many people.
Phillip Rivers. I mean, the name
that guy.
I didn't mean to say that.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yes,
so
yes.
So you can't say because we're struggling defensively that we have no leadership. Because we're not there. You with me?
Yeah.
Our leadership can still be there. You can be freaking Rudy sitting over there, you know, doing what you need to do to motivate a locker room, to fire people up, to stay after practice, to do extra reps, to do everything that they need to do. But that person may not be the one that balls out that week.
Gotcha.
You know?
Yeah.
So
okay.
You know,
so much like Gruden, you know, not Gruden, much like Belichick, and people kind of get mad at me when I bring him up, but you know, when you win a bunch of Super Bowls and you're the epitome of success in the league, it's hard not to reference him at times. But you know, he's not a very vocal leader in the media. On the field and whatnot, but behind closed doors, we know he is, and he's fiery, and he's, you know what I mean, like he's absolutely a leader of men behind closed doors. So I see if taking that understanding and then applying that to the players, I could see that. I think that's a great way to look at it, Uncle Mosh. Great question, Vic. I thought that was a good one. All right, so we heard from Diego in Georgia. Let's go up, Uncle Mosh. I think this is Alaska Raiders' second call, so I'm going to put him on the list down as 2. Alaska, if this has been your third. And you're a made man, forgive me. We've gotten so many calls lately from so many new folks. It's hard for me to keep up at times.
Sure, let us know.
But I don't believe so. I believe that this is your second call and another great one. So here, let's listen to Alaska Raider.
Hey, Uncle Mosh, Murph, it's Alaska Raider. Man, I do like it when Carr shuts me up. That's the dang sure, Uncle Mosh. But man, I'm bummed. We should be having some wins. We're not playing terrible ball, but it's either, one thing or another. We just need to pull it all together. But I've been a lifelong Raider fan since Marcus Allen, Bo Jackson, and that'll never quit. But man, they better beat the Seahawks, because here in Alaska we got a lot of Sea Chicken fans, and the Sea Chickens had to leave our division so they could even get a win. I mean, they were just totally terrible, so they left our division. And they were able to get some more wins, but the AFC West is, I got to say, the toughest overall for the last, 10 decades. Who knows, since the 60s. But, yeah, I love the Raiders. You guys take care, man. They better beat the Sea Chickens, though. All right, take care.
Yeah, we better beat the Sea Chickens, Uncle Mosh.
I just love that name, the Sea Chickens.
I know, isn't that great?
I love that, man.
That's a great. And you know what? I think for older guys that are older fans of the team, older guys, we're not that old yet.
Don't try to make up for earlier.
I'm not trying to make up for earlier. I'm not trying to make up for earlier. No, I wasn't even thinking about that. I'm sorry. I was trying to have fun. I was trying to be funny.
I don't forget.
Okay, I know. I know. But a lot of people forget that this used to be a big rivalry. Like this, they used to be in our division.
Huge rivalry.
And so, there's a little bit of extra mustard on this one, if you ask me, when it comes to playing the Seahawks. And then especially being the fact that it's the London game.
Ooh. And
the fact that we're 1-5 or what are we? 1-4? Ooh, let me speak that over them.
Yeah.
We're 1-4. Like there's a lot going on in this game. So I'm with Alaska Raider. Like this is a big deal, right? Like they're kind of all must wins, at least for the foreseeable future, right? Like when you've lost 4 already, don't you think, Mosh?
I agree. I mean, they are all must wins. We've got the talent, we got the potential. It's just a matter of putting this package all together.
Together. Absolutely. All right, here we go. Let's hear from another made man, and let's go to our buddy Monster Mash. I better hold on. Let me show the figure. Got to show the figure. So the guy that created this here, we call him Lil Murph. There you go, Little Murph. He's got a shield and stuff. It's funny. I came out for the show tonight, Uncle Mosh, and I'm I'm dressed like Little Murph.
Sure you did.
And that's why Little Murph looks the way that he does, is because Ken modeled him after me, because I'm Murph and he's Little Murph. Yeah. So I walk out of the room and my wife and kids, they go, "You look like your character." I'm like, "Thanks." Like, should.
So for those of you that are on the podcast and can't see what Murph is showing, is Ken makes action figures.
Yeah.
And so he made this Little Murph action figure for Murph, for Big Murph.
Yeah, for Big Murph.
Yeah.
And
you know, and those of you that can't see us because you're on the podcast, I have a volleyball.
You have Wilson.
I got Wilson.
Yeah,
I'm happy.
Where's I you know what? I didn't even think about it. I should have had the oh, hang on. I'm trying to bring up the Little Murph. I'll look at it. I'll look for it while we're listening to Ken's voicemail. How about that?
Okay.
Here's some good radio.
Yeah.
Yo, Murph, Uncle Mosh. This is Monster Mash Ken.
He almost called you Wilson.
That
Uncle
was a
Wilson.
horrible game. That was probably the worst game of the season. Just didn't look like it was inspired, or I don't know what was going on. You know, we could point the fingers at every single player. Maybe not every single player, but you know, it is what it is, man. It sucks, and as Raider fans, and you know, we've seen horrible seasons before, and this is just not our year. I guess we're just gonna have to look forward to the draft. I mean, I know we're not totally out of anything, you know, for competing, but the way Kansas City is playing, I just don't think we're gonna catch up. I mean, maybe small window wild card spot, but I don't know. I mean, who picked the Raiders to win the Super Bowl anyway this year? You know, I mean, I do always look at the schedule and go through the teams that I think that we can beat. And this was one of them. It was essentially a home game, and you know, since we lost the Seattle game as a home game, I thought this would suffice, but it just didn't work out. And you know, I feel really bad. I'm not from Oakland. I'm from Los Angeles myself, in the New York transplant. But I feel bad for the Oakland fans. You know, they deserve better, I think. And Marshawn Lynch, you know, giving his best, and you know what could be his last season. You know, and what does he get in return? You know, an interception in the end zone at the 1 yard line on first down. That's just, I don't know if that's on Carr, who checked the play, or if that was the play they called. But and you know what, Marshawn's response? He's like, "It's happened before. What are you going to do? I'm not mad." And that's shows a lot of character with him. And you know, that's, what are you going to do? And Carr is just in a funk, you know. And I know he didn't have Elsemele and then the right tackle position. And he was getting hurried all game, but he's got to make some better decisions, and players need to step up. And where the hell is Coop, man? I don't even know. I like Coop, I do, but you know, if we lose next game, I would trade him. I'd trade him. I'd trade Irvin and whoever else. I'd maybe do a fire sale. You know, just keep Carr, because I like Carr. I really do. I stand by Carr no matter what. But yeah, I'm starting to question that, like, some of his decisions, and I don't know if it's just Gruden and the new play calling system. Anyway, let's keep it positive, you know, and try not to beat ourselves up too much. We're fans. We invest. We choose to invest in this team, and I'm always going to stick by him no matter what. And it just sucks. It's a tough pill to swallow. Anyway, take care, and hope all is well. New York Comic Con, I sported your shirt. I didn't get any pictures, but I got a couple fans out there at New York Comic Con. They're like, "Oh, Raider Nation." I was like, yeah, check out this podcast. So I got you guys. Anyway, take care, guys. Bye.
Well, thanks for that, Ken. We appreciate that a ton.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
That is super cool. So, Uncle Mosh, first off, before we get into to Ken's, reflect on Ken's voicemail. So I found my my Little Murph clips here.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. So
your interview.
Yeah, well, Little Murph has a pull string.
Well,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, and so he says stuff when you pull the string.
Okay.
You said this was a fan cave. It looks more like your spare room.
So there's Little Murph. I think it does more, too.
Pull it again.
Try it again?
I like John Gruden, but I love me some Chucky.
Of course he does, because he's a doll.
Yeah.
You want to try it again?
One more. Okay, Let me do it. Let me pull it.
Okay, you pull it.
Okay.
Uncle Mosh, I can't hear myself think. Keep it down, fool.
Man, Little Murph throwing some shade at you, Uncle Mosh.
Little Murph. I'm gonna have Wilson roll over him.
Both of us are risking an ass whipping from you tonight.
I'm telling you. Whole family going to go down.
All right, so thank you, call. Thank you, Ken, for the call. And Mikey, by the way, has jumped into the chat room.
Oh, nice. Yeah, come on, Mike. Hey, Mike, what's up?
Good to see you, Mikey. And, so this week, Mikey and I talked a lot about, what Ken referenced in his voicemail about Carr throwing all the interceptions, what their decisions have been on the 1 yard line. Let me throw this at you, Mosh. Since the start of the Super Bowl, when the Seahawks and the Patriots played, teams have now thrown 4 times at the 1 yard line with Marshawn on the field. Following Derek Carr's interception, those passers are 0-4 with 2 interceptions. Unfreaking believable.
How many times are they going to do that? How many times you got the hottest ball carrier in the freaking league?
Yeah.
He's averaging over 9 yards a carry, and you're going to throw the ball from the 1.
On the 1 yard line. You know what the Rams did this week when they had the ball on the 1 yard line with Todd Gurley, one of the best running backs in football?
Let me guess. Did they run it?
They ran it. And you know what? He got stuffed the first 2 times. And you know what they did the third time?
Ran it.
Yeah, and you know what happened?
Touchdown.
There you go. Like, this is not rocket science.
Oh, my gosh.
You got it.
First and 1 from the first and goal from the 1?
Yeah.
Why you got 4 shots at it?
And I mean, look, I know Assembly was out, but we still have one of the best interior lines in football. I mean, like, it's
here's what I got to say.
Okay.
We got to make sure that Monster Mash Can and Q-Dog never get together. We might not have much of a team at all. They would hit list everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
They might call you and I.
Yeah, we might be replaced by Little Murph and Wilson. Oh, man.
Mikey, what are you doing the rest of the season? Yeah.
So, and one other thing you referenced, too, was about the home field advantage. It's nice to see that, we know Raider Nation travels well. We've always traveled well. And it's nice to watch a road game and the 27,000 people that fill up the Charger Stadium, and 20,000 of them are Raiders fans.
Yep.
But you know what, Uncle Mosh? It's cool that we take over that stadium, but they don't care. You know why? Because they've outscored us 56-20 in 2 games there.
And there was a stat that about the teams that have beaten us more than any other team.
Oh, well, it was Phillip.
Phillip has beaten us.
Has beaten us more than any other quarterback. He's beat us 16 times.
16 times that name.
That's rough. That's rough.
Let's not talk about it. You know what? We're angry about that.
We're not as angry.
We're not as angry. We're not as angry as this next guy, are we?
Not at all.
Hi, Uncle Mosh and Murph. This is Ed, running bear from Tulare, California. All I damn wanted was a god win on Sunday. That was my birthday. Damn you, piece of crap, Raiders. Okay, now that I got that out of my head. We need to take a step back. We had to look what happened. The game started off. We were starting 2 rookie tackles. We didn't have our starting guard wasn't in there. We had a lot missing from our offensive line. That caused problems. Couldn't open up holes for Lynch. Lynch was stymied. Couldn't give enough time for Carr to make many throws. It was just not looking good. Even with that, we still moved the ball at least decently for a while. Not in the first half, but starting in the second half. We really need to stop and look at where our team's at. Now, I've been a Raider fan since, I was 8 years old, so 40 years. So I've seen the good, I've seen the bad, and I've seen worse than we are now. I know right now we're 1-4, and a lot of us want to blame everything under the sun, especially Gruden, especially Carr. Don't like the interceptions Carr's throwing. Don't like some play calls Gruden's doing. But I will say this. Being a long-term fan, I still see a lot of good things on this team. There's a lot of hope that we have. If we throw out the baby with the bathwater, how stupid are we going to be? We're going to look back and realize we had a good quarterback that just needs some time to get to know his offense, to get some players healthy, and add a couple players here and there we do need. Same thing on defense. We got a couple people that we can look to in the future. We got to just wait our time. This year's not going to be great. Anyone who thinks it is not thinking clearly. I want it to be.
I'm very sure everyone here wants us to be 15-1. It's not going to happen this year. What we're going to have to wind up doing is probably going 1-15. Who knows? It won't be that bad, but hell, you got to be able to accept the possibility. But we have a basis of players that we can work with. Don't get so upset. Don't start wanting to trade this person or trade that person or let go of this person. We're better than that, nation. We are way better than that. Just keep with everyone, look out for each other, and it'll get better. Thanks again. You guys have a great one, and go Raiders!
Great call. Great job, Running Bear. Appreciate you checking in with us. So a couple things he mentioned there, Mosh, I want to respond to. Let's see. Where did I make my notes at here? Okay, so he talked about Derek Carr and about how he thought Derek Carr was going to be fine. Just give him time. And I agree. And I've got called out on Mondays with Mikey Murph this last week for being an apologist, and I'm an unapologetically apologist.
Absolutely.
Now, I am critical of Derek Carr. I think that he's making some bad decisions. I think that he's, probably wants a lot of these plays back, but I still think that he's got the talent. He's shown us that he's got the talent to be one of the better quarterbacks in the league, to at least be I'm not going to call him an elite quarterback, not yet, but to certainly be the franchise quarterback that we all would hope he would be. And there's an interesting stat, Uncle Mosh, I want to throw out at you. Derek Carr in his career with the Raiders is 4-12 as a record with a 74 passer rating in games he's been sacked 3 times. Derek Carr, now granted, he's been hurt a lot with the back injury and the pinky and the leg and all, so he's been hurt a lot. But the bottom line is this: he's been put on his culo quite a bit, and no quarterback, I don't care if you're Tom Brady or Pepe or whoever, they get happy feet when they get hit a lot.
Right.
And so we'd, at least to this point, have seen that when Derek's getting roughed up, he doesn't play well. Now, that's not inconsistent with the rest of the league. Now, you would like to see him create a little bit more and see that escapability that once upon a time he had, where instead of getting happy feet, he would use his feet to extend the play, move out of the pocket. He's so good and so accurate throwing on the run, so that's why I don't want to just, like he said, throw the baby out with the bathwater, just ride off Derek Carr that, it's not, he's not going to be a good quarterback, because this is the smaller of the sample size. For the majority of his career, at least, he's been pretty freaking good. And he's had some amazing moments. Think back to that Kansas City game last year in Oakland when he throws the pass to Crabtree in the corner of the end zone on the run. That was an amazing play. That was a tough play to make. So we know he's got the ability. He's just making some bad decisions. What do you think about all that?
I promise you, I guarantee you, bank it, take it, put money on it. Every defensive coordinator out there that's worth his weight is telling his folks, shake them up, rattle them up, get in their heads, put some pressure on them. Why do they chart pressures? If it wasn't important, and you rattle a quarterback, you're going to get to them enough, you're going to rattle them enough, it's going to affect the way they play.
Great point.
It happens. It's part of the game. It's something they teach folks. They want to tell them, you got to get in there and shake them up, because when they get shook, man, it takes a minute to get out of it.
Absolutely. And, and if we have these numbers, Mosh, obviously the coaches do. Gruden does.
You bet.
Well, why else do you draft 2 tackles, right? Your first year on the job. Like, come on now, right? So, Gruden obviously recognizes that you got to protect the guy.
Sure.
And so, that's what the Raiders are going to focus on, is that, getting him protected. Because when he's protected, he does pretty darn well.
Yep.
So hopefully that's what we see continued out of Derek Carr. All right, Uncle Mosh, one more call here on the Sea of Fans mailbag. Another first-time caller. A lot of first-time callers this week, and glad to hear from you all. We appreciate all of your calls. You can always reach the show at 909-345-3346. That's 24/7. And as long as you get the call in, typically before Wednesday, then we'll always get you featured here on Raiders Fan Radio in the Sea of Fans mailbag. So last up, let's hear from Alberto in Los Angeles.
Yeah, this is a first-time caller, Raider Alberto from Los Angeles, California. Man, that game. There's always 3 games I always want the Raiders to win. And the 3 games this year was this game because they're in LA, the Niner game, and then the Chiefs game because, I hate the Chiefs. Anyway, what the hell happened to this team? One year, the Raiders are Super Bowl contenders. the NFL is loving us. Well, kind of loving us because they have to. Because we were 12-4 at one point. Now all of a sudden we're rebuilding again. God, I mean, I thought we were over this. I thought we were gonna stop worrying about a quarterback. I thought Derek Carr was the answer to quarterback. Now we're back to square one. I mean, is it Gruden's fault? Is it Jack Del Rio? Is it releasing Crabtree, Marquette King? Who knows? But man, this is frustrating though. It really is. Because other bad teams are flourishing, like the Rams, even the Saints, and all those other teams that were bad for a while. Now they're good, and we're in the basement of the AFC West again. But anyway, yeah, funny story of how I became a Raider fan. I pretty much grew up in the 2000s. I never saw any of those Raider legends like Howie Long, Bo Jackson, Gene Upshaw, all those Raider legends. And I only saw bust after bust with QBs and pretty much any draft players. But I really started to become a fan around 2014, the 2014 season. I started watching more games all that time. And wow, that was a really bad season though. Low key, this season's reminding me a lot of 2014. I mean, seeing the Raiders blow games like there's no tomorrow. Anyway, still Raiders till I die. I'm not repping no team, even if they're LA. It's still the LA Raiders for me. But anyway, I guess we'll see you until next year. All right.
All right, Uncle Mosh. Appreciate Alberto calling in, checking in from Los Angeles. Still, I love that he says there's still going to be Los Angeles Raiders.
That's right.
That's awesome, man. And we with guys like Pete Koch, that I love, and even Mikey, like it's the LA Raiders to them, man. Like that's what they represent. So definitely very cool to hear from LA Raider fans. So here's something kind of fun about what he had to say there. How it felt like 2014, and about how bad it's been with the giving up the plays and everything. So speaking of Charles Woodson, so number 24 here, Uncle Mosh, right? In 3 seasons at safety, so 2013, 14, and 15, during this time he's talking about, the Raiders allowed 15 plays of 50-plus yards in 48 games. You with me?
Yeah.
Okay. In the 3 years since Charles Woodson retired, we've allowed the league worst 24 plays over 50 yards in 36 games. So
what's Woodson doing now? Can we
I
call
know.
him?
Yeah, get him back. So I say that to say this, Alberto. It's worse than it was in 2014. And then this is the other part of it, though, Mosh. And this is why this season is just so tough, I think, for us to wrap our brains around. Because as bad as that is, do you know that in 2017, last year, through 5 games, we scored 108 points.
Right.
This year, we've scored 107 points through the first 5 games. We've scored 1 point less than we did all of last year through the first 5 games. It's just like there's so much working. It's you can't figure it out. There's not like this. I think the hardest thing for us is that in the past we've been able to look at Dennis Allen's a chump. Lane Kiffin's a chump.
Sure.
Our quarterback sucks. Like what? Al Davis is crazy. Whatever thing you wanted to point it at. What are we pointed at this year?
Yeah.
I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just so hard for us as Raider fans to wrap our brain around what is going on with our team.
We are Metallica, and we are here for your Oakland Raiders!
You know why we out here, and we ain't playing around today.
From The Walking Dead to errant Jedi Knights, Raiders fans are a rogues gallery.
Uncle Mosh.
Hey.
You have been holding a tagline contest because you are Mr. Tagline.
I am king of the tagline.
You are king of the tagline. So
Yes.
we've had a tagline contest going on here on the show. Let me bring my camera up here.
Okay.
So we're going to give away one of these fine Carhartt hats.
Carhartt hats.
Carhartt hats. They're we're going to give away this brown one here, the fine Carhartt material with the brass rivets and all that.
Just like
good
what
stuff.
I wear.
Just like what you wear. So that's why You've been so not only are you Mr. Tagline, you're Mr. Carhartt hat.
I am Mr. Carhartt.
So tell us what's going on with the Tagline.
Okay,
contest.
so we had a little contest, and we had brackets. We had the East bracket and we had the West bracket. And last week we narrowed it down to the 2 finalists, the semifinals, if you will, and that was Emiliano and Raiders.
4 finalists.
4, yeah. Well, I was going to say, yeah, you're right.
East bracket, West bracket.
East bracket, West bracket. 4 finalists. Okay, so Emiliano represented the West, and he was going up against Kevin the Raider Nerd. And in the East, it was Tom in New Jersey and Rodney in Ohio. Excuse me. And so, can we cut that out? Yeah. Anyway, so this week, it's been narrowed down to the final 2.
So we put up a poll.
Yes, we did on our
Facebook
interwebs.
Page. Yep, on our interwebs.
And we're going strictly by your votes. And the winners are, representing the West, What Happens in Vegas started in Oakland. Emiliano with a whopping 56% of the vote, okay? And he's going to be taken on from the East. Tom out of New Jersey with Wield the Shield.
Wield the Shield.
Wield the Shield. Yeah, 61% of the vote. So we're pretty fired up at that. So it'll go up again on the Facebook.
Yes.
You will post it up there, and it's 100% going to go with your votes.
Absolutely. And so, so in the East, we got Jersey, and in the West, we have California. And 2 great, Wield the Shield is cool because you're wearing a hat with the Raider shield on it. And then, of course, What Happens in Vegas started in Oakland is just that's such a cool way to round out just the whole history of the team. And so well done by all of our contestants. Thank you to everybody that sent in a tagline. We had tens and tens of taglines.
And they were good.
They were very good. And it was tough to narrow it down a lot of these. Uncle Mosh and I did based on a lot of your feedback. We narrowed it down to the 4. And then, as Mosh mentioned, then you all voted. And so I'll have another poll up to see who wins it all. So we will send you the Carhartt hat. And then also, Uncle Mosh, we've got another contest. I want to call it a contest. We need to give away that shirt. Let's give away that shirt that's hanging up there behind you. What should we do, Mosh? What should we You got any fun ideas? We haven't even talked about it. I don't know.
We haven't, but you know what? Maybe we should ask the fans what they would do to win that shirt.
Oh,
nice.
What they would do? So
what you would do, and describe the shirt.
Well, it's a London 18 shirt. It says London on the back, like where your name would go on a jersey.
Right.
And then it's got the number 18 because it's 2018. And then on the front of it, it says Silver and Black UK. And then it has the London 2018 logo from their fan club on there. So I think that would be a fun thing for us to give away. How about I don't know, like somebody that sends us a picture of them with like something Captain Jack, like the flag. What do you think? Like something, something London related, or what?
Maybe it's the best Raiders fan radio selfie.
Okay,
selfies are hot right now.
Selfies are hot. Post it on the Facebook. Yeah. Tag us in it, or on our Instagram or Twitter or whatever. Send us your Raider, because we get people send us pics of them wearing our shirt. So maybe that's a good idea. So send us a good Raider selfie, and then we'll Uncle Mosh and I will look over and we'll just kind of pick one, and we'll send you the shirt. We'll just pick randomly. Nothing fancy with this giveaway. We'll just pick a because if you're gonna send us a cool selfie, then you got to then send us a picture of you wearing the London shirt.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. So and now the shirt is a large, so keep that in mind. That you know what I mean. It's a London large.
Yeah,
it's actually a London XL, which runs a little small. So it's like what our large would be.
Yeah, I can get an arm in it. Hey,
tell me something, Mosh.
I just before we go.
Yeah, we're wrapping it up here, so we're winding it down.
Something's bothering me.
What's going on, Mosh? Run it by the chat. The brain trust.
I'm having a little bit of an issue.
What's wrong?
I'm feeling like overly optimistic about this Sunday.
You are.
Yes.
I love that.
Fired up, man.
I love that.
And
we love that. Raider Nation
I'm
loves
talking some smack at work.
Okay.
Those women in the faculty room don't understand it, but I'm still talking it. The point is, do you know what the number one selling candy in all of the UK is?
No idea. Toblerone.
Skittles.
No way.
Yep.
That is an amazing stat, Uncle
It's
Mosh.
an amazing stat. And here's the thing. I feel it. I think with people buying Skittles, we didn't do the 3 reasons why we're going to win, but that would have been my number one.
That would be a big one.
That and you and I were talking about this is a little bit of a revenge game, man.
A little bit. This is a big deal. Oh, because of Marshawn.
Because of
Marshawn, man. So there's some extra mustard on this one for him too.
There is, buddy. I think we weren't going to go into the weeds on this, but I think this is it.
How about picture this, Uncle Mosh? We get down to the 1 yard line with the game on the line.
Oh my gosh!
Can you imagine?
Are you killing me right now?
Can you imagine what that would be like? Look. Let me ask you this: what happens? Raiders are down 20-27.
Right.
Or no, 20-26. Okay, the guy got a chance to score a touchdown and take the lead to win the game. You run Marshawn twice from the 1 yard line to get stuffed. What do you do on third down?
You run Marshawn.
You do, right? Right? It's a no-brainer, right?
You run him 3 times and he gets stuffed. What do? You run
Marshawn. You run him a 4th time, right?
Yeah.
You've got to. I think.
How could you not?
You got to. I wonder. I don't know. I wonder if it might create. Would it be so far-fetched to think that Gruden could have potentially outthought himself so bad to the point that he was thinking, well, if we get to Seattle, I've got to run him no matter what.
Right.
So here against San Diego, I'm going to at least put it in question, because that way when we get to Seattle, am I crazy there? Am I reaching a little too much there or what?
The only thing that would be better than that is if Seattle were on the 1 with a first down and they throw a pick.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, and Marshawn just stands there and goes, "Told ya."
Yeah. Put him in at freaking the slot corner for that play.
Didn't you learn?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
I don't know. I just feel really good about this game, man.
That's crazy.
And nobody's picking them.
No one's gonna pick us for the rest of the year. Nobody's gonna. But like we said, Uncle Mosh, these are 3 winnable games. Well, 4 really, but 3 for sure winnable games coming up.
Yeah.
Well, so I don't know.
This could turn things around, man.
This could be it. Mario says that I'm certainly reaching. I am.
Okay, yeah, and I have been since 1973 when I started dieting.
But it's going to be interesting, Raider Nation. This is definitely there's a lot of cool storylines this season, and none better than starting this week. Real quick before we get out of here, Aaron, the Q-Dog Raider, just checked in. Gonna wish a happy birthday to his son Gavin.
Oh,
who
right
turned
on.
16.
Wow!
So happy birthday to Gavin. Happy birthday from us here at Raiders Fan Radio. Drive safe, young man. Don't do anything crazy in that car.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Put down the phone. Don't be texting, driving, and all that business.
That's right. Yeah, put down the phone and don't be carving anything in your dashboard.
No, unless it's RFR. Yeah, that you're allowed to carve it. As Q-Dog said, not my car. Yeah. But anyways, thank you, Raider Nation, for checking us out tonight here on episode number 98. So for next week, we're going to feature the interview with Johnny Spencer from the band Stringer. Wee bit of a podcast selfie going into the bye week. And then episode 100. And we got some things that...
fun stuff
got some fun stuff planned for that. So stay tuned for that. Thank you always to you for watching us on the YouTube feed. Thank you to those of you that are in the chat. Some names I see there. Alberto, of course, Aaron, Mario, Dirty 30, Mean 519, Chevy Raider, Ron, Running Bear. Did I say that yet? I can't scroll up to see everybody there, but it's been real active tonight. So thank you to those of you that are watching on the YouTube, and thank you to you that download the show. Appreciate you downloading us on your favorite podcast network. Check us out on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you can find a podcast, you can find us.
We are all over the internet.
That's right. Stacks of Wax here with Yuck and Boner in the morning. Traffic on the 8s.
You had to say Boner.
We'll probably play that. Or maybe not. I don't know.
We'll see.
Whatever. We'll see. We'll play by ear. Can you play that by ear?
Let it go. Let it go.
This is called digging yourself deeper into a hole. All right, Uncle Mosh, hit us with a tagline. Let's get on out of here.
Yeah, here we go. The final 2 contestants
What happens in Vegas started in Oakland. Wield the shield. I like it.
Have a good night, guys.
Oh, good. You're here. Go get me some beer.
The game's on.
Excuse me. Yeah, the game's on. Shut up.